Who the hell you think you're talking to, Dr. J? Must be an old man in your pocket. You ain't talking to me.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack.
Let's see if I can start Facebook. Give me a minute. God, Trump's so bad at comedy. I'm trying to watch this White House correspondence bullshit. He's so fucking bad. He's like, Gavin Newsom's not running for president because he made a mistake and told everybody Kamala's smarter than he is. Can't survive it. Everybody knows dumb has a B. Most people don't know. Something I got to tell people because they don't know. All right, that should be started. We should be good. All right, let me roll the intro. Damn it, my nose just started running.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not.
Not a lot of people know that.
Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Well, I spent 4 hours today sanding drywall, so now every orifice of my body is full of white powder, and not the good kind either. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. Welcome everybody. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Let me get you some audio. I guess we'll start here. I don't know. I kind of want to watch the Nick Fuentes, Hunter Biden stuff. But this is relevant. Trump being bad at comedy. The last part I just saw was him basically claiming a guy in the audience called J.B. Pritzker a fat son of a bitch. And he was saying, no, sir, you can't call him that. You can't do it. See, you guys can't get me because I'm defending somebody. Comedy is not his thing. Unintentional comedy, often his thing. Like if he wasn't the president of the United States and was just saying this crazy shit, a lot of times it'd be funny. Like if he held a press conference and he was just some random guy and not the president, cool. That'd probably be funny. When he's the president, you're like, oh, fuck.
Beautiful, but this has not been an easy evening, all these awards. Do I have a say in those awards? All those awards? But it's...
I'm going to try not to sniffle into the microphone. You have to give me a minute. I blew all that fucking drywall dust out of my nose, and I was fine, and then all of a sudden it turned on like a faucet. It's running like crazy.
And I'm very proud of it because I built it for $2.9 billion less than the Federal Reserve building, which is a lot smaller, by the way. Figure that one out. But I am delighted to be here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Amazing people, a lot of people that I like. Some I don't like it all, but I respect most of them. I must say that you do a great job, amazing job, and it's an honor. As I said 3 months ago, the show must go on. We were backstage, and we both wanted to just have it go on, whether it was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, it didn't matter. But in the end, it made more sense to do it the way we're doing it. And we had a great news conference at the White House, in a very important room. And you did very well. I think we all did very well. It was a hell of an evening, I can tell you that. Won't soon be forgotten. And I think a lot was learned from that evening. A tremendous amount was learned about security and about other things, the dangers of what we all do. But just like my presidency, the second time is always better. It's always better. And the third time will be better yet. I'm only kidding. From the earliest moments after the attack on our dinner last April, I knew we had to.
He's being pretty funny already.
Reschedule this event as soon as possible. We had to do it very quickly, and we met very quickly. And we figured something out, but the attempted mass murder at the Washington Hilton, that's what it could have been, was an assault on our democracy itself, a very serious situation. Many of you were there with me, and some showed extreme bravery, like Pete Hegseth, Steve Miller, Tom Holman. Really? They were standing on tables, and most of you were under the tables, okay? But they did. They showed. I saw every one of them that was said.
Has anybody seen any footage of them jumping up on top of tables to defend the president?
Up in those tables. I didn't know if they were.
Tom Homan. Those tables wouldn't have supported Tom Homan. No fucking way.
Brave, if they were smart, if they were stupid as hell, but they were on those tables in some cases, and there were a lot of feelings going on in the room at that moment. But after hearing the gunshots, many people yelled, get down," which caused Nicki Minaj to start twerking. Do you believe it? Get down. She's the only one that really understood what that meant.
I understand he probably didn't write these jokes, but damn. I'm sure he had like a huge list of jokes and he had to approve them all. He wouldn't just let somebody outright write them, and because he's afraid somebody's going to make him look dumb. But if this was the best that he could find, it's pretty rough.
It's quite an evening. But tonight we come back together to answer that heinous attack with unwavering resolve. And every one of us here this evening.
Get it? Colored people dance to music. Get down. She started twerking. Get it?
To show that in America, we do not.
Because that's a common phrase people have used since 1993. Get down. Get down. Get down with your bad self.
Yield to political violence. We can't do that. Can't do it. So in this country, we believe in freedom of speech. We settle our differences not with bullets, but with open and vigorous debate. And no deranged loser with a gun will ever change that. We can't let that ever happen. There are a lot of very dangerous people out there. We can't let it happen. I want to begin by expressing our gratitude to the incredible men and women who put their lives on the line every day to protect my family and myself, all presidents, and lots of others. That's the United States Secret Service. So I appreciate it very much. And Sean and the whole group. Amazing job. Amazing job.
He wouldn't let a comedian host, right? Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. He wouldn't let a comedian host because he knows what that means, right? They're going to make fun of everybody, including Democrats, but they're going to make fun of him, right? It's basically like a Trump roast. Like any other roast, you address everybody, right, that's there, or all the prominent people that are there, but you also, there's one main target. He wouldn't let it do it. So Oz Perlman's there to predict everybody's future or some shit. Not very good at being a mentalist. He had no prediction for the gunman at the last one. Like he didn't even see that coming. Seems like a major event he could divine out of the fucking spirit world or whatever. Like there's gonna be a gunman show up. Seems like that'd be the thing you'd want to predict in the future.
Months, they've repeatedly responded to threats with speed and professionalism and extraordinary courage, and there is no better example of that than Officer Victor Gonzalez, who we just met. It was amazing. What he did was amazing. When the would-be assassin charged the checkpoint at speed, he was fast. You know, when you looked at that, you had to look at it about 10 times before you really saw what was going on. He was quick, nasty.
Yeah, the Naruto run, and he was just checked out by an officer of some sort and a fucking canine. They see him, talk to him or something there in the stairwell, then leave, and then he comes fucking running out.
The gun made him nasty, actually. But Officer Gonzalez engaged the attacker without hesitation and took a bullet to the chest after his ballistic vest fortunately was on, saved his life, and Victor did not even want to go to the hospital for a checkup. We insisted, really, we wanted him to do it. We insisted, but he didn't want to go. So to Officer Gonzalez, Secret Service, Metropolitan Police, law.
What? Oh, he took a bullet in the vest, I guess. The way he made it sound, take a bullet in the chest, made him sound like he was fucking literally struck by a bullet and wouldn't go to the hospital. But I'm guessing he means he took it in the plates, so it bruised him.
Bullet to the chest after his ballistic vest fortunately was on, saved his life, and Victor did not even want to go to the hospital for a checkup. We insisted, really, we wanted him to do it. We insisted, but he didn't want to go. So to Officer Gonzalez, Secret Service, Metropolitan Police, law enforcement generally, and even all of the militaries around us in the room tonight, we salute you and we thank you with all of our hearts. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job.
Wait till he starts talking about all the ballroom secrets he divulges. And that woman from Dre Dossier doesn't sound so batshit crazy anymore.
Great job. These are great people. So this evening we're picking up right where we left off, so let's have a little bit of fun.
What's up, Cat Rafter?
You know, I said, what do we do here? Is this supposed to be fun?
Oh, support the show, guys. Bills to pay. Buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer. Thank you.
Am I supposed to be serious? Am I supposed to be a comedian? So I guess you said maybe a little bit of everything. I know one thing, I could never have done the speech that I had ready.
He always says this. I had this amazing speech that was going to destroy your lives. You probably would have quit your job and jumped out of a fucking high-rise window. But I didn't do that one. I decided better not, too hot for TV.
Just a short while. Oh, that was going to be a doozy. I was so psyched. I was going to rip people. And I don't know, just something changed. It's really for the better, but I just wouldn't want to do that. But we'll do a little ripping if you don't mind. But it is true. I said, how do we handle this? It's going to be a different kind of an evening, and it is. And in many ways, it's a more beautiful evening, actually. Everyone's looking really good tonight, and I know it was not easy finding shoes to go along with your bulletproof vest, which many people didn't want to wear because they'd rather die than look 20 pounds heavier. You know that, right? We have that a lot. They put one on me. I said, are you sure I'm not wearing this? No, you look exactly 20. They say, sir, it's about 21 pounds. I said, not good. But I want to thank the outgoing president of the White House.
How does it clash with your girdle?
Correspondence Center Association.
Or they lace up together.
Admit it, and she should not admit it, but we sort of became friendly. You know, in times of stress, on occasion you become friendly. I have a lot of respect for Ouija, and I tell you, we went through a little bit of a war together. It turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty good because of a lot of good people. They stopped the tragedy, so I want to thank you very much. Fantastic job. And Ouija worked extremely hard to ensure this dinner was rescheduled, and we want to just thank her family. I just met her.
He refused to have this his first administration. Just refused. Wouldn't let anybody talk shit about him.
Her parents, her children, her husband. What a perfect family. So it's really great. Thank you very much all for putting up with us. For putting up with us, right? But let me also thank the incoming president of the Correspondents Association, Jackie Heinrich. She can be very tough as a reporter, I will tell you. She can be nasty. She looks so beautiful, but she can be so nasty. How could that happen? But she just got married to a very successful congressman, a very good congressman. I'd like to have a couple more votes for him, but that's okay. On occasion, he shows a little independence. We don't like that. But now he's a very professional guy, and he loves our country. But that's a big thing. I just see what takes place. We're talking about what takes place
He literally just said that this guy doesn't vote with me all the time. He shows some independence, and we don't like that.
Be in the position that you're leaving and that Jackie's coming into, and it's a lot of work, it's a lot of friendships, a lot of talent. And so, Jackie, congratulations. Right. And congratulations are also in order for our favorite White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who just had her second child. You and your husband. She's great. She's done a fantastic job. We all love her. She's done a fantastic job. She's another one. She can be nasty. But sometimes she has no choice, right? But Caroline may have one of the hardest jobs in the White House. She has to deal with all of you all of the time. And you can be very difficult. You can be very, very difficult people. But I'm probably...
Her name is Jackie Heinrich. That doesn't sound super Nazi and German at all. And she married Brian Fitzpatrick.
Being a little bit oversensitive, sometimes I really do think that some of you don't like me. In fact, I read a report, I get 93% negative publicity. 93. So how the hell did I win the election by so much? Think of it, I don't think...
He's a representative for Pennsylvania, maybe?
It's true. I can't believe it's 93. In the 80s, maybe, but not 93. But this place is really the largest group of Trump derangement syndrome people ever put together at one time, I suspect. Some of you are lucky that our last dinner was cut short because...
Like, you could have made that funny, right? It could have been, we could call this group of people the White House correspondents or the Trump derangement syndrome support group or something like that. But just being like, this is the largest group of Trump derangement people ever. Okay.
Because I had brought with me what would possibly have been, I'm telling you, I had something. I was going to go after you.
Career-ending speech.
It was such a letdown. Oh, yeah. But your lives were really in danger the last time for an opposite reason. But on the plus side, your careers were saved, and we really do. We have a complete and total. I love the words complete and total. They say, but it means almost the same thing. I said it doesn't matter when you say it. It's called emphasis. It's called emphasis. But everyone is now really warming up. The new White House Military Center, drone port, highly protected ballroom.
He keeps saying drone port. What do you guys think that entails? I'm not saying he's saying anything wrong. What do you think that entails? Like, do you think they're going to have weaponized drones that like launch from there? Offensive, defensive drones that like launch from the fucking roof or some shit? Usually a drone port is where they just land a bunch of them, they charge, change batteries, fuel up, blah, blah, like an airport, right? But he keeps saying the largest drone port. He says it multiple times.
But everyone is now really warming up. The new White House Military Center, drone port, highly protected ballroom. We have our ballroom. The windows are this thick. I said to the people, well, if a bullet hits, what happens? Nothing. Nothing. It bounces right off, sir. This is the greatest bulletproof glass. I said, AK-47. That's supposed to be a big one. I don't know so much about the guns. My sons know a lot. But I said, I know it's big. What would happen? They go up, meaning it can take more. I said, so if I'm making a speech and I hear that pinging sound at a window, what would I do?
What would happen if someone shot the window with an AK-47? Up! Okay, clearly you mean bigger. What would happen? Up!
What would happen? They go up, meaning it can take more. I said, so if I'm making a speech and I hear that pinging sound at a window, what would I do? Sir, leave the room right away, but you're going to be safe. We're building something that's going to be amazing. And in light of what we went through, I think people understand it. It's going to be amazing. Phenomenal. One of the biggest drone ports anywhere in the world, right on the roof. Right.
It almost makes me feel like the whole thing was a fucking setup for the ballroom, dude. Because as soon as they did that, then fucking the Republican congressmen and women started jumping all over. Well, we do need to fund. Remember, the ballroom was not going to use any taxpayer money. None. It was all going to be donated and funded, and he was going to fund part of it, and industry was going to fund part of it, and rich people. Then suddenly, oh, well, they almost shot up the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and now suddenly all the Republican lawmakers are like, well, we got to put money on this ballroom.
Protecting the White House, not only the ballroom. And what's underneath, it's supposed to be a top military secret, what's underneath, but then you get sued as usual, and you have to reveal that you're building this unbelievable situation downstairs with room after room of very complex stuff. It was the military's dream to have it built. I went to have a ballroom because for 150 years they wanted it.
He's building a fucking fortress.
And then the generals came to see me and they said, sir, you're building something. This gives us an opportunity to do something that will be so unbelievable, never happen again. Because there's very little built under the White House, very hard to build under a very fragile building like that. It's very fragile, it's old, and a little different construction standards, frankly. And this is an opportunity for us to build something very powerful. I said, let's keep it secret. And they said, no, we're telling you, sir, let's keep it secret. And then we get sued and we revealed every room, we told the people that did this, they're not good people. We told them, we said, you're being very unpatriotic when you bring a suit like this, but it is what it is, but it's going to be, it's really going to...
No, it's public, it's public property, public money, public use. No, we don't have to keep it secret, right? Anything that's classified, keep it classified, but we want to know where it's fucking going. Why'd you tear down the goddamn entire wing of a White House? Fucking douchebag.
Fast, we're ahead of schedule, we're right on budget, and it's going to be something like I think no country has. I just visited China. They have this magnificent room, the Great Room. They call it the Great Room. It's a great room, but what we have is going to blow. There won't be anything like it. It's going to be fantastic with all of this.
Listen, I just visited China. They have this place, a great room. It's a great room. They call it the Great Room. It's a great room.
That are going along with it for safety and security. Future presidents, I'm only going to be using it for about 6 months, assuming we finish it right on time. I get to use it. Somebody said he's building it for himself. I'm building it for the future.
The only reason Trump wouldn't still be milking the Butler PA shooting is that it does not benefit him in some way. So either the shooter was a real big fan of his or, wasn't actually targeting him. Something, right? Something. If it was like, okay, this guy hated Trump because he saw this on the media, and he hated him because this, that, and the other, Trump would be shouting it from the rooftops. Sorry, I spilled some of my fucking water mixer. Damn, it's strong. It's not watered down. But yeah, if it benefited him in some way, shape, or form, he'd be all over it, right? He'd have publications. We'd be learning about it. Your kids would be learning about it in school and shit. Like it'd be fucking everywhere. But it doesn't benefit him for whatever reason. It either implicates him or doesn't make him look as good as he wants to, or makes him look poor, or makes him look like he hired somebody to do it, or something. Makes him look like the people around him fucked up, like he wants to keep their jobs. I don't know. For some reason, it does not make him look good. Because if it did, that's all we'd fucking hear about.
Sure, I use it. Now, had I not gone down 6 or 7 stories, then in that case, I would have been able to get a couple of years out of it. But that was
6 or 7 stories deep. 6 or 7 stories deep. He's saying if it's on schedule, he'll only get 6 months to use it because it'll be done at the end of his presidency. Which isn't that far off, I guess. We're over halfway through, right?
It's far more complex what we did downstairs.
Coming up on halfway.
So we're very proud of it. That's going to be amazing. And I think I was just telling the whole group sitting at the table, we were talking about it. I said, I think, it's a White House correspondent, so I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to use that. It's going to be very large and very beautiful and very safe, and that's what you need. So I was thrilled to see that after witnessing the attack, even Democrat Senator John Fetterman told his fellow Democrats to drop the Trump derangement syndrome and build the White House ballroom. But
John Fetterman's a fucking loser. Piece of shit, dude.
it's much more than that. It's something that you're going to use. I predict that you're going to end up using it, and a lot of people are going to end up using it. They're going to be as safe as you can possibly be. But despite everything that happened at the previous dinner and all of the dangers involved, I'm told that this is still the hottest ticket in town. This ticket to get in tonight, because it's a smaller room, it's a beautiful room, it's a luxury room. See those beautiful chandeliers? I can tell you everything about them if you'd like to know. See that beautiful Capitol above? See the beautiful Capitol? See everything, the brass. Those chandeliers are great. I'm looking at it, I'm saying, I wonder if I could, I sold this building, and they're doing a nice job, but they're nice people. But I'll tell you, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, I wonder if I could walk out with those chandeliers, because you can't buy them. They're very special. I won't tell you the fact. I won't mention that they're checked crystal, because I'd like to say everything's made here, but they are checked crystal. And they are beautiful. And the Waldorf people are doing a really nice job. We're proud of them, actually, because, when I left town, I was a little angry. I was a little bit angry. I was offered a nice price. I said, I'm getting out of that place. And
Are you angry?
I come back. And, but I was very proud of this building. This building was hot. Remember the lobby floor? 82,000 feet. For those in the real estate business, 82,000 feet. That's a major floor. That thing was packed every single night. It was packed, mostly Republicans, I would say, but it was packed every single night. It almost brings back memories. But I left town, and I
Did you say the Waldorf?
And this might be the best experience of all, having all of these incredible people in this room.
He left town because he lost the election. That's why he was upset.
It's a great
Tried to stay in power. Couldn't. He didn't have his bunker at that time.
feeling, frankly. It's a great feeling. But tonight's event, thank you. Thank you. But tonight's event is even crazier than the last time. In fact, it's so successful that I've been informed by CBS News' David Ellison, who's going to do a fantastic job. He's the owner. He bought it, spent a lot of money, and he's going to make, I think, fantastic changes and keep some of the great stuff going. But then next year, they're going to call it the Trump White House Correspondents Center. He told me that, and I like that very much. We're going to change the name of it, okay? Well, it's going to be so hot, just like our country is hot. We are hot, by the way. But to be honest, it's just about the only way that they're going to ever get me back here. You're going to have to change the name of the dinner. But how's that one going? Not too good. I hope that everyone finally got to enjoy their entire, very delicious beef tenderloins, very special beef. And I want you all to know that Bobby Kennedy, who's right here, personally ran over the cow in his car.
The only fucking funny joke. The only funny joke I've heard about this. He tries to extend this and be like, he also wanted to serve raccoon because he loves, or possum or some shit. The only funny joke is like, hey, this very special beef. Bobby Kennedy actually ran that cow over on the way here. That's pretty funny.
Boom. And he cut it up and he brought it here for you to eat tonight, so it's very fresh. And Bobby also suggested an appetizer featuring his favorite cut of male raccoon roadkill. But we drew the line at that, Cheryl. We said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We love Bobby. I'll tell you, he's a piece of work. You think it is fun, but he is a very different kind of a person, I will tell you. But he has what it takes, and he's smart, and he loves the country, and he wants people to be made to feel good. You agree with that, Bobby? He wants people to feel good. And he's doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. We can joke all we want, but thank you. A lot's happened since the last time we were all together. Last month, we hosted one of the most incredible sporting events in world history at the White House, the UFC Freedom 250 fight, the UFC fight. When I announced that we're going to build...
Okay, this next joke falls completely apart. So basically, he's like, hey, we're going to have more fights at the White House. We're going to have two fat people I don't like fight each other. We're going to have AOC fight a question she can't answer. Like, just listen.
Build a boxing ring right outside of the front door of the White House. I took a lot of heat, but it turned out that was, they say, about the most viewed fight in history. It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, there's also an unconscious Joe Biden joke.
So many things happened. It was supposed to rain. We're going to do it the week before, and the weather was beautiful. And the weather came and it went, and now we came up the Wednesdays. They said, sir, this was on a Sunday night, replacing 60 Minutes, which is nice and unusual because usually it's Saturday night. And they said, sir, this was from Wednesday on. Tell me about weather, right? Sir, it's going to rain. I think it's going to be one of the worst storms that we've seen in a long time. It's coming up the coast. It's going to hit you on Sunday night. It's going to be a disaster. I said, can you believe? And you saw the ring we built, Dana White, the great Dana White, and everything with the best fighters in the world. Turned out we had the best fights that most people have ever seen, including me. It was just a miracle. But what happened is
yeah, looking like this absolute steaming pile of dog shit and being like, this other guy's fat.
Waiting for this rain to come all day long, and it's coming, and it's horrible. And it's 8 o'clock, and we say, I think it hasn't rained yet. And I said, maybe we should postpone it an hour. Maybe we should make it the next day. We didn't know what to do. And finally, we just said, let's just have it. And it never rained. It was perfect. In fact, the week before, it was 92 degrees. It was nice, but this was like 72 degrees. And the rain was coming, and it came right over the White House. And it was like, thank you very much. It went like this. And other areas were drenched a few miles away. We didn't have a drop of rain. And it was absolutely one of the most incredible things anybody's ever seen. People said it's one of the most incredible nights of their lives. So just remember, before I came along, if you wanted to see someone lose consciousness on the south lawn of the White House, all you had to do is ask Joe Biden a question. Remember that. Oh,
I think it would have been a lot funnier. So ask Joe Biden a question, he's unconscious. I think it would have been a lot funnier if he would have said, like, if you wanted to see somebody unconscious at the White House, you just had to let Marco Rubio talk to you about, and pick some really boring fucking topic and then have the news cameras zoom in on my face. That would have been fucking hilarious, because all the times where he does those round tables, everybody's talking and he's fucking asleep or praying or whatever, that'd have been self-deprecating, which he can't do, but it would have been funny. Joe Biden was unconscious when you asked him a question. He was unconscious when nothing was going on.
You think I'm kidding? But the big fight was such an amazing success that tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're going to host an even bigger one.
Should have said something like he could not give a fuck about, fucking Marco Rubio talking about global warming in Uzbekistan, and then the news camera just zoom in on my face.
Right in front of the White House, every Friday night, every Saturday night, we're going to have fights in front of the White House. But we do have something coming and I'm only kidding. The one thing about...
Well, if comedy was easy, they'd let women do it. Legend. It's okay.
The press that I learned, don't be sarcastic. Because I'm a very sarcastic person, and I get sarcastic, and most people know that, but you have some bad people that will write it exactly like I say it. And I said I was only kidding. But we are going to have Indy 500. Roger Penske's coming in mid-August, and they're going to have it all throughout Washington, the greatest cars, the greatest drivers in the world. And that's going to be something. Already there are over 350,000 people signed up, going down Pennsylvania Avenue, around the Capitol. And Roger, who's incredible, he won the Indianapolis 500 20 times. Think of it. Germany, Japan, all these countries, they spend billions and billions of dollars trying to win the Indy 500. And Roger wins it. He literally won it 20 times. On the 18th time, I said, that's amazing. I'm going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And I had him up. And then he won it 2 times after.
So the Indy 500, when someone says the Indy 500, typically they mean like the actual Indianapolis 500. What he's trying to say is there's going to be an Indy car race in D.C. They're going to use the streets of D.C. and make an Indy car race. The Indianapolis 500, when someone says Indy 500, they usually mean the race at Indianapolis.
The guy's amazing. And he lost the last one by about 6 inches, if anybody watched it. So they're coming here, and it's going to be something really exciting. We have unbelievable events. It's an unbelievable country. And on July 4th, we were over at the mall, and it was raining. It was supposed to be really bad again. And we had 450,000 people show up, and that's a light number. And I was told, so we're going to have to cancel the event. This was not good. And it was drizzling a little bit, not raining very hard. And people are calling me, friends of mine were calling me. And I got a call from Brett Baer. Brett Baer said, it's not raining. I said, where are you? I'm standing at the mall, and I'm waiting to go in the White House. Then others called up. They said the same thing. And I said, this is terrible, but there was lightning. Not big lightning, but you don't have to have big lightning. It takes just a little bit to do some big damage. So they said, everybody must leave. 450,000 people were forced to leave.
What are they calling it now? The NTT or some shit? The NTT IndyCar Series. It stands for Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Corporation. It's a Japanese company, I guess, is sponsoring it.
And they left. And then I said to myself, let me call up and find out what the hell's going on. And
George Bush is... I miss George Bush. He was an idiot. He was dumb. He did a lot of fucked up things. War in Iraq and shit. 9/11 happened. But man, like if that was the worst we had to worry about was how fucking dumb George Bush was while Dick Cheney actually pulled the levers of power. Like, holy shit. We'd be so much better off.
I called up and I spoke to a brilliant young man. He said, don't worry about it, sir. We can do it in a couple of weeks. I said,
And George Bush wasn't afraid to make fun of himself. He knew that people saw him as like a fucking stooge, basically. And he could roll with that.
It takes just a little bit to do some big damage. So they said, everybody must leave. 450,000 people were forced to leave, and they left. And then I said to myself, let me call up and find out what the hell's going on. And I called up and I spoke to a brilliant young man. He said, don't worry about it, sir. We can do it in a couple of weeks. I said, you can't do it in a couple of weeks. This is the 250th birthday. In 2 weeks, what are we going to do? Say, let's go? We're going to have a redo? No. I said, I'll speak if I have to speak at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I don't care. Call them all back. They're all gone. 450,000. And most of them were in cars. They were heading back to Texas, and it was sad. And we said the show must go on. Very much like here, we said the same term, right? The show, it's a great term. It's true in life. The show has to go on. The show must go on. And I said the show must go on. I put it out on Truth. The show must go on. And we had probably, Peter, 150,000 people come back up higher. Maybe thank you. Let's stand up, Peter. Tell them. More, right? It might have been more, but it was amazing. It was just an amazing crowd. And actually worked out better, a little like this. It worked out better than if we had done it at the normal 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock time. It was incredible. We started speaking at 11 o'clock in the evening, but tremendous numbers of people. Thousands and thousands came roaring back. And it was a great evening. And it was a celebration. And we didn't do it the following day, and we didn't do it 2 weeks later. We did it when we were supposed to do it. It was a fantastic celebration. But I can exclusively reveal to you this evening that for the heaviest of the heavyweights, we will have
It says that on a typical 4th of July in D.C., 400 to 550,000 people gather, usually.
Chris Christie, one of the...
I don't know.
happiest human beings you'll have exclusively the following day, and we didn't do it 2 weeks later. We did it when we were supposed to do it. It was a fantastic celebration. But I can exclusively reveal to you this evening that for the heaviest of the heavyweights, we will have sloppy Chris Christie, one of the sloppiest human beings you'll ever meet, fighting, I would say, I could mention the governor of Chicago, but I'm going to mention instead Jerry Nadler. And they're fighting for a big piece of cheesecake, big fat piece of cheesecake. Who the hell wrote that line? But it is true. And then you have a Congresswoman, Alexandria.
So this big fat guy is fighting, Chris Christie is fighting, I could say, the governor of Chicago, J.B. Pritzker. He couldn't remember his name. But it'll be Jerry Nadler, and they're fighting for cheesecake. This joke is so bad.
That piece of cheesecake. Who the hell wrote that line? But it is true. And then you have a Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC plus 3. That's her 3 friends, right? AOC plus 3, and I watched her give that answer when she was over in Europe. It was not a good answer. If I ever gave that answer, I would be out of politics. Remember, you cannot have a 19-second wait time to answer really a very quite simple question. But we'll then have a rematch against an extreme, simple question on a foreign policy from Munich Security Conference. It was a big security conference, and this was her first time up in terms of...
He's explaining way too much. What he's trying to say is AOC will be facing off versus a very simple question from the Munich Security Conference. Boom. Joke delivered. Done. But he's like, it was the first time she was ever up. She went up, 17-second, 19-second pause. It was there. It was horrible. If I'd have gave that answer, I'd have been done. They'd run me out. I can't do that. You guys won't let me get away with it. You guys show no mercy, but she gets away with... Like, that's not the joke. AOC will be facing off against a simple question from the Munich Security Council. Boom. Done. $10. 07 Will in chat. Please accept my money as an apology. I haven't got a stream in a while. You start after my bedtime. I was all as well in the new house. Yeah, we're getting by. Doing all right. Thank you for the donation. I'm trying to roll my start time up earlier. I've been starting way after 11, but I was able to start before 11 today. I'm hoping to get it back to between 9 and 10. But thanks for joining us.
That, and we had a sort of little preview, and then Anderson Cooper was going to fight, and this was her first time up in terms of that, and we had a sort of little preview, and then Anderson Cooper was going to fight Lawrence O'Donnell. I'm not a fan of Lawrence O'Donnell. I like Anderson, actually, because he's covered me well for many years, and he went bad as soon as I went for politics, but for years he loved interviewing. I did so many interviews with him, and he was great, but, you know, he's got a little different persuasion than me.
Anderson Cooper is going to fight Lawrence O'Donnell. I guess that could have been a joke. But they used to cover me good. Now they cover me bad. All the time, cover me bad. Like, this is not funny.
Anyways, actually.
This is like a fucking struggle session.
And Lawrence O'Donnell, never liked him, never thought he had any talent. But he's still making a living, so I can't knock it. But we had a contest for who had the lowest ratings and the lowest IQ on television. And that was actually Don Lemon, I think. You know, when I said that he's the dumbest man on television, I said, you know, when you say some things, you never make a comeback. It's not like, oh, gee, hey, Don, let's have dinner some night. But
well, Don Lemon's doing amazing on his own, so... One of the most watched people on social media right now.
I know what I'm saying. And then you have Bette Midler and Jane Fonda actually held a concert.
I know what I'm saying.
It's not like, oh, gee, hey, Don, let's have dinner some night. But I know what I'm saying. And then you have Bette Midler and Jane Fonda actually held a concert to protest the first UFC fight. They didn't want to see the fight, and very few people want. They held an event. Like 3 people showed up. And given the choice between seeing some of the really beat-up faces of the UFC, almost everyone chose the people in the UFC. It was between the 2 of them of the UFC. And what about Bruce Springsteen? What the hell happened to that guy? He looks like hell. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not supposed to say. I'm sure he doesn't like the way I look, but I don't look so bad. But at a recent concert, Bruce, all he did was talk politics. He ought to run for office. That'd be interesting. But all he talked about, he made 4 political speeches in his 3-hour show. The tour has been renamed Bored in the USA. And his new song was so...
That's kind of funny right there, but he rushes through it. Like, it was hard to even understand what he said. So Bruce Springsteen has the Born in the USA song. So you say, Bruce Springsteen, he's gone completely political. Go to a concert, not to hear music, but listen to his political speeches. Actually, they've renamed the tour to Bored in the USA instead of Born. But instead, he's like, he does this, Born in the USA. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. You're bad at this.
He made 4 political speeches in his 3-hour show. The tour has been renamed Bored in the USA. And his new song was so bad that Chris Christie, who's like a fan, you know, he goes out and tells everybody how he hates Chris Christie. Keep that guy out of my... And I see Chris Christie there again, high-fiving Bruce Springsteen in the aisle. And Bruce Springsteen saw him and didn't even lift his hand up. And I just want, because I used to be friendly with Chris. Chris, when somebody doesn't like you, write them off. Forget it. You got billions of people in the world. You don't have to make a jerk out of yourself. But usually a comedian hosts this dinner. And I think we sort of changed it. Tonight we're going to have somebody who I think is really spectacular. But I've watched comedians get up to the dinner because I have been here actually quite...
Never, ever, 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 ever will he let a comedian come up and make fun of him. No way.
A few times people don't realize. And there's one time in particular when Barack Hussein Obama hosted it. Do you know who that is? And he hit me hard, but actually he hit me with respect. I was sitting with Melania at a table, and you had Brooklyn Decker.
This fucking hurt him. So Obama embarrassed him. Now he's gonna play it and be like, "No, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was so funny. I love laughing at myself, and I wasn't upset." Everybody kept asking me, "Are you upset? Is this the reason you ran to be president?" Blah blah blah. It's like his villain origin story. Like he hated this so much, but he's gonna spend the next 5 minutes telling you that he loved it.
And he hit me hard, but actually he hit me with respect. I was sitting.
It's like when Bort does a whole stream saying he doesn't care about what people are saying while he covers everything that people are saying.
With Melania at a table, and you had Brooklyn Decker, supermodel, at a table right next to her. And I really always will like her. She's married to a great tennis player, Andy. And she was at the table, not at my table. And I have watched this clip thousands of times. They keep playing it because they think that was the evening I decided to run for president. It was not. In fact,
you just said it. I've watched this clip thousands of times.
007 just resubscribed for 24 months, 2 years, and that whole time Bort has moved 1 million times.
Thank you very much for the donation, or for the subscription. I appreciate it. I don't know where those new sound alerts came from. I'm not a fan, but I don't even know how to turn them off right now. So there you go. Thank you for subscribing for 2 years, and Bort has moved a bunch.
I loved it, and I have watched this clip thousands of times. They keep playing it because
he's watched this clip thousands of times. That's weird because he doesn't watch anything besides Fox, right? And he rarely watches anything else. So if this clip doesn't bother him, right? He's not worried about it. It didn't affect him at all. Why the fuck has he watched it thousands of times to the point to where he knows everybody that was sitting around him when this clip happened? Because it fucking destroyed him inside.
I think that was even to a great tennis player, Andy. And she was at the table, not at my table. And I have watched this clip thousands of times. They keep playing it because they think that was the evening I decided to run for president. It was not. In fact, I loved the evening. I looked at my wife. I said, "Can you believe it? All these people, that's all they're doing is talking about me. I love this dinner." It's true. And Obama was nice. It's amazing how things work out. He actually showed a picture of the White House with a big Trump on top. Like I put a sign. And I'm sort of doing that when you think about it, right? I mean, he wasn't really wrong. But no, he was respectful. He was good. But it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do. I just decided that I wanted to make America great again. This had nothing to do with that dinner. I've gotten so many. Yeah, I've gotten so.
Just not true. Like you can see it in his face. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't giggle. He doesn't do any. Like it pissed him off.
So many calls and
since he's been president, he's tried to erase Obama and Joe Biden's name from fucking everything.
For years, they've been saying, "Was that the moment you decided to run?" Really, no. I left that night, and the press was there. A lot of the same people that I see, they said, "Did you have a good time?" Unbelievable. And some thought I didn't have, but I did have. And I always remember, though, Brooklyn. She was so angry. She was much angrier than me. She was angry. She thought they were mocking me. And
damn.
They weren't. It was just one of those things, and I had a great time.
So someone else was angry for you. They weren't mocking me. They were very respectful. I wasn't upset. Someone else was upset, and I told them, no, don't be upset.
A lot of the same people that I see, they said, "Did you have a good time?" Unbelievable. And some thought I didn't have, but I did have. And I always remember, though, Brooklyn. She was so angry. She was much angrier than me. She was angry. She thought they were mocking me. And they really were.
So Brooklyn was mad for me because she thought they were mocking me, but I said, no. They love me.
It was just one of those things, and I had a great time. But I left, and I sort of thought I was there 3 or 4 times before that, but I sort of thought, wow, that dinner was really something special. And then I ran. I got elected. I thought the press treated me very, very unfairly. And I don't know. I think I made the right decision because you hate to go where maybe you're not wanted, but they did want me. They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for other reasons, but not for love. And I said, I'm not going to go. First time that ever happened, I think. Was that the first time? Just about. Presidents always came. And I didn't go for 4 years because I got treated terribly by the press. In my opinion, unfairly. I know unfairly because I know the facts, but I got treated unfairly. I didn't go. And this year I was called by your president and your chairman and all of the people, and they said, "We'd like to do it." And I said, "You know what? With time goes by, time passes, and you sort of look at life a little bit differently." I said, "Let's do it." And I didn't know it was going to turn out the way it did. It turned out to be the biggest event in the history of your day. That was by far the biggest, right? For all the wrong reasons. But as I said before, a lot was learned from that evening. So much having to do with so many different things, including security. But it's an honor to do it. This is my first time. I've been to it numerous times, but as president, I haven't been here. And I'm glad. And they said, "Would you do it next year?" I said, "I will be back next year." Now, if you get really, really nasty, maybe.
All right, hold on. I looked up this Bruce Springsteen clip. I don't think it's as bad as Trump's making it out to be, obviously. Like, it doesn't look like Bruce Springsteen is really giving high fives to anybody. Like, Chris Christie does stick his hand out, but it doesn't look like he's looking directly. He might not even known that was Chris Christie, first of all. Not saying he does like him or doesn't like him, but, like, look at all these other people. He touches one guy, I think, then he quits. Other people are touching him. He's walking. He doesn't even look at. It's not like he looks at him and sees his hand and turns the other way. You know what I mean? Let's watch it once more. Comes up to him. He's looking down, basically. Turns the corner. Yeah, I don't think it's anything like Trump made it out to be. I had heard. That's the first time I'd actually seen it. I had heard other people talking about it on Twitter, him getting snubbed or whatever, but it doesn't look that bad.
It turned out the way it did. It turned out to be the biggest event in the history of it. That was by far the biggest. Look at life a little bit differently. I said, let's do it. And we'd like to do it. And I said, you know what? With time goes by, time passes, and you sort of, I know unfairly because I know the facts, but I got treated unfairly. I didn't go. And this year I was called by your president.
For 4 years, he refused to have the White House Correspondents' Dinner because they were mean to him.
The first time, just about presidents always came. And I didn't go for 4 years. And I said, you know, I'm not going to go. First time that ever, maybe you're not wanted, but they did want me. They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for, oh, that dinner was really something special. And then I ran. I got elected. I thought the press treated me very, very unfairly. And I don't know. I think I made the right decision because you hate to go where maybe you're not wanted, but they did want me. They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for other reasons, but not for love.
You hate to go where you're not wanted, but they did want me. They wanted me for ratings and other reasons, but they didn't want me for love. The whole dinner is about White House correspondents working under the president, covering the president. Nobody wants you for love, dude.
I think I made the right decision because you hate to go where maybe you're not wanted, but they did.
We were just talking about it a second ago. I want to watch it. I've got it pulled up. I just haven't watched it yet.
They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for other reasons, but not for love. And
not for love. They didn't love me.
I said, you know, I'm not going to go. First time that ever happened, I think. Was that?
I'm becoming a Hunter Biden fan. I don't care. I hate to say it. It feels weird coming off the tongue, but I'm becoming a Hunter Biden fan. Underdog story.
They did want me. They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for other reasons, but not for love. And
not for
I
love.
said, you know, I'm not going to go. First time that ever happened, I think. Was that the first time? Just about presidents always came. And I didn't go for 4 years because I got treated terribly by the press.
Yeah, because he's like, I think presidents always go, right? That's probably the first time that's ever happened. Yeah, that's the point of the dinner, dude. The point of the dinner is the president comes. We're all the people that cover the White House. The president is the White House, of course.
You know, in my opinion, unfairly. I know unfairly because I know the facts, but I got treated unfairly. I didn't go.
In my opinion, unfairly. But, well, I know unfairly because I know the facts. The facts as I make them up, as my opinion dictates.
And this year I was called by your president and your chairman and all of the people, and they said, we'd like to do it. And I said, you know what, with time goes by.
He was called every year. He was asked every year. Every year he refused. But now he's like, oh, they called me, and now they do want me out of love.
Time passes, and you sort of look at life a little bit differently. I said, let's do it. And I didn't know it was going to turn out the way it did. It turned out to be the biggest event in the history of it. That was by far the biggest, right? For all the wrong reasons. But as I said before, a lot was learned from that evening. So much having to do with so many different things, including security. But it's an honor to do it. This is my first. I mean, I've been to it numerous times, but as president, I haven't been here. And I'm glad. And I said, they said, would you do it next year? I said, I will be back next year. Now, if you get really, really nasty, maybe not. I don't know. But we're going to be back next year. And or Jackie will treat me very bad. But this year, the association decided not to have a comedian, so they considered using Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon, these guys, they're terrible. They're terrible. Stephen Colbert, these are people without talent. They get a lot of their talent. You know who has talent? Their agents getting them to.
How can you say these people aren't talented? Like, look how long their careers have been. They're still active in their career. Like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert. What do you mean they're not talented? You don't think so. But clearly, the majority of people do, or they wouldn't have fucking shows.
But this year, the association decided not to have a comedian, so they considered using Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon, these guys, they're terrible. They're terrible. Stephen Colbert, these are people without talent. They get a lot of their talent. You know who has talent? Their agents getting them the money they get. They have no talent. But they are not comedians. They're not funny people. They're angry people. They're sick people. But the association.
They're not comedians. They're not funny. They're angry people. They're sick people.
Really put on a big show, and they have somebody very special. I look forward to seeing them. And so they thought about going with a professional clown for entertainment, but Adam Shifty Schiff was not available. You know, he's known. I called him. I hate some people. You know, I shouldn't say this. I'm not supposed to hate. I'm supposed to love everybody. But he's a terrible person. He's a liar. And I called him Watermelon Head because he has the largest head I've ever seen with the smallest neck, pencil neck. How does that big, fat, ugly head stand on a little pencil neck? And then I'm told that even Rosie O'Donnell reached out from Ireland. She really wanted to be here in order to honor me. She loves me very much, and she was desperate to come back to the United States and pay her respect to Donald J. Trump. But that didn't work out, unfortunately, because nobody wanted her to come back. But she's one of the greatest sufferers of Trump derangement syndrome. She's a sick young woman, sick older woman, I guess now I have to say. So instead, we're honored to have, for entertainment, the very talented mentalist, Oz Perlman. Oz Perlman.
Does he pronounce his name Oz?
And everything to everybody. They said, are you going to stay? I said, yeah, I'll stay. I mean, I think I'll stay. What the hell else am I going to do? I've got Iran, I've got this, I've got that, which is all going extremely well. Don't believe the fake
How weird.
news. You know, it's the only thing we were talking before, I said, so we've hit Iran very hard. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. 250 jets, no longer. 159 boats, good boats. In fact, I said, why the hell didn't we keep them? We could have used them. But 159, but all at the bottom of the sea. They have no radar. They have very few drones left, despite what you see. And every once in a while, they're going to set some things up, but they don't have much left. And by the way, they are talking to us right now. They'd love to make a deal. I don't think.
I used to work on Wall Street, but I just knew it wasn't my career. It wasn't where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And just being on stage is where I feel at home.
So what do you do?
I'm a mentalist. I'm Oz Perlman. I'm 32 years old from New York City. I'm a mentalist and mind reader. At home.
So what do you do?
I'm a mentalist. I'm Oz Perlman. I'm 30.
He pronounces himself Oz. I've always called him Oz because that's the way you fucking say OZ, but Oz Perlman.
They're ready to. I don't think it's time yet, but I'm willing to listen. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. We don't want to see Washington, D.C. or any of our cities or Israel or, frankly, the Middle East destroyed with a nuclear weapon because I know the power of nuclear weapons. I see it. I get to see it. We're not going to let that happen. So this is all about we will not let them have a nuclear weapon. And they would use it. They would use it if they had it. But Oz, I do have one question about what happened that time because he was there. How the hell did you not see that coming? He sees everything. He sees everything. He's telling me about your grandmother and your this. Why the hell didn't we ask him that question when he gets up here? Why didn't he see that coming? But of course, this evening, it's really all about the fake news media and your handling of prizes, writing and producing and performing.
Fake news media.
Made up stories like the Academy Awards. You know, Academy Awards used to be the epitome of ratings. Outside of the Super Bowl, it got the second most ratings. Now it's down in the dumps. Nobody wants to watch it anymore because they took on Trump. They hit me all night long. They hit me. The winner is so-and-so. I want to talk about Donald Trump. I hate this man. Nobody wants to hear this stuff. Right, Peter? Nobody wants to. You ever see the ratings? They used to have 48 million people. Now they have 2 people watching. But they'll learn to listen. But I want to personally congratulate CNN's Caitlin prizes and writing and producing and performing made up stories like the Academy Awards. You know, Academy Awards used to be the epitome of ratings. Outside of the Super Bowl, it got the second most ratings. Now it's down in the dumps. Nobody wants to watch it anymore because they took on Trump. They hit me all night long. They hit me. The winner is so-and-so. I want to talk about Donald Trump. I hate this man. Nobody wants to hear this stuff. Right, Peter? Nobody wants to.
The people who worship Donald Trump are not watching the fucking Academy Awards. Get that fuck out of here, dude.
You ever see the ratings? They used to have 48.
Cable TV across the board is down in ratings. But like, okay, here you go. 2021, 10.4. 2023, 18.7. These are million views. 2023, 18.7. 2024, 19.5. 2025, 19.6. 2026, 17.8. Like I mean, in 98, they had 57 million. I don't know. But cable TV is just not where it used to be.
8 million people. Now they have 2.
The internet's changed all that. Oh, shit. I got to turn off whatever that sound notification is. I fucking hate that shit. Can you guys hear that when that's happening? Let's do this. Can I delete it? Yes. All right, let's try it.
People watching, but they'll learn to listen. But I want to personally congratulate CNN's Caitlin Collins on receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was
no judging. I think it sounds fun, Mona. Have fun drinking.
a fake. CNN's Caitlin Collins on receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I didn't mind. I said, Caitlin, congratulations. But it was fake. There's no question about it. But she's a young,
He
attractive
fucking hates Caitlin Collins. Dude, that's the one he always freaks out on every time she asks a question.
woman. She never smiles. I said, Caitlin, do you ever smile?
Crashes the fuck out.
You have a nice position. You're at CNN Fake News. You should be a happy person. So smile, Caitlin. Just smile. But we attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship. But then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial ever made, by the way, for those few people that want to hear that. Most people don't care, but I would. I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon. Think of it. They hired Dylan Mulvaney, and their market cap has gone down by $35 billion. Who wrote that commercial? And then you have writer Josh Dorsey. He also received. He's been killing me for years. No, he's been, and yet tonight he shakes my hand, he hugs me, everything nice. He kills me. Josh is amazing. He writes more stories than any human being. There's nobody that writes more than Josh. He'll write 4 stories about me a day, all different subjects. I mean, I had the other day 3 stories, and one on the, he was upset about this. One was on page 7, 3 were on page 1. They were all written by Josh, but he's hit the big time, and he's a workhorse, and yet he's almost unhirable. You know, you hired, he's just one of these guys. Wall Street Journal's lucky to have him, but you really, it's unbelievable. He's almost unhirable. CNN is also here. And I'm very disappointed they didn't bring Fake Tapper because he's had a rough couple of years, Fake has. You know, he calls me up every once in a while. If I pick it up, pick up my phone. I used to go to this young lady and say, any calls from the press? No, sir. I said, oh, now I'm the president of the United States, right? I'd say to Stephen Chung, is Stephen here someplace? Where's Stephen? He's one of the toughest human beings I've ever met. Don't ever wrestle Stephen, you'll be in big trouble. But I say, Stephen, let me ask you, did the press call? No, sir. You know, when I was a developer, I got a call every half an hour. For whatever reason, I always got disproportionate press. So I said, Stephen, nobody called? No, sir. 2 hours later, I say, hi, Steve, how are we doing? Everything good? Anybody call? No, sir, no press calls. I said, President, nope, they never call. So this went on for about a week. I'd say, Caroline, did the press call? No, sir, no calls. I said, nothing. It's over a week, I haven't received a call. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give the press my phone number. That was the stupidest thing I ever did. I'm getting a call every 3.7 minutes. Steven, I don't know where the hell you've been, but the press calls, I'm getting calls, ring, ring. I was with somebody today. They said, I've never heard a phone ring as much as fresh. Now, I look at the thing and usually just delete, delete, delete. Every once in a while, it'll be one of the people in this room that I like, and I'll pick it up. Like this one right here calls me on occasion, right? She'll call me.
I'm glad you're out having fun, Mona. Enjoy it.
He says, hello, sir. How are you? We want to talk about some horrible subject, like a horrible, depressing subject. I say, Jackie, I don't want to talk about it. Congratulations, however, on your new marriage. But I don't want to talk about it. But it's true. And like a horrible, depressing. Right here calls me on occasion, right? She'll call me and says, hello. Well, it'll be one of the people in this room that I like, and I'll pick it up. Like this one right here calls me on occasion, right? She'll call me and says, hello, sir. How are you? We want to talk about some horrible subject, like a horrible, depressing subject. I say, Jackie, I don't want to talk about it. Congratulations, however, on your new marriage. But I don't want to talk about it. But it's true. And people call me now, and so for weeks I go, no calls. And I learned then that both of them, they feel that I'm doing a great job, and they feel I'm above it all, and that no person, hundreds of people call no person, is good enough to talk to Trump, and so we don't even bother telling you. That's not the way it works, Caroline. You have to let me know, because sometimes I do like to speak to the press, but now I have.
I think I'm doing a good job. There's nothing to say. That no one's worthy to talk to President Trump.
The best system I've ever had. It rings, and just so you understand, you're much better putting your name, because if there's no name, I just can't do that. You know, I pick up every once in a while. Hello, I'm from Reno, Nevada. We're a startup paper. We're calling us the Reno Express. I said, do you believe I'm the president of the United States? Mr. President, could I have your views on Iran? And I just hang up. No, I get the craziest calls. I mean, some of them, my wife said, I can't believe you do this. This is a hell of a way to live. But sometimes I get calls from very important. Sometimes I can straighten out stories that are going to be fake, and I can make them from a fake story to a good story. I always find that when you don't speak to the press, you always get a bad story. When you do speak to the press, you have a shot at getting a good story. Oh, look. No, because, look, if I were a reporter, and let's say I'm a big reporter, I work for the failing New York Times, or I work for, well, I don't know, do they ever come to these dinners? Didn't they cancel out a long time ago? Big mistake. They should be here. But I get a call. I've always found that, you know, speaking to them, you just do better. You do better. When you can, when you have the time, you speak to the reporter, you treat the reporter with respect. Sometimes now there are reporters where it doesn't matter.
Treat the reporter with respect. Right, where he ran out in the middle of a storm in the fucking barn because they asked him about shit.
You can be so nice to them, it doesn't matter. You get treated unfairly. But you have a lot of great reporters where when you speak to them, you can get your point across, and that's a good thing. But some people say that Jake Tapper is a great investigative reporter in D.C., and that's why after moderating our debate, it only took him 1 year to break the story that Joe Biden might possibly have suffered from cognitive decline. It took him 1 year. He wrote a book about how great he was mentally, not too good. And I don't like Biden because Biden was very unfair to a lot of people. But Jill Biden insists that Joe would have beaten me in 2024, even though he was way down. She said he was way behind in the polls because he was seriously ahead. She felt he was going to win because he was seriously ahead on deceased voters. He was leading in the deceased crowd, and there were a lot of them. You're finding out there's a lot of them. Look at
That could have been a decent joke.
the numbers that just came out yesterday. And it's traditional that at least one or two potential presidential hopefuls attend the Correspondents' Dinner, but many of them seem to have really chickened out. I was disappointed that Gavin Newsom didn't show up. He didn't show up. He should be here. But I heard that he recently said that we will lose our country if we don't fight fire with fire. And to be fair, there's only one thing we know about Gavin, and that's that he definitely doesn't want to fight fire with water. He's got a lot of water, never uses. What a disaster. That should have never happened. But Gavin Newsom recently did a career-threatening, one of the worst interviews I've ever seen, where he said that he can't read a speech. He's incapable of reading a speech. He's a low IQ person. He's smarter, however, than all of the people in the room, and then he gets sued for being a racist, okay, when he said that. But he basically said he has various mental...
None of this happened, dude. He said he couldn't read a speech. He said he's a low IQ person, but then he said he's smarter than everybody in the room. Then he got sued for being a racist. He literally said, I'm no different than you guys, right? One thing you'll see is a lot of times is I don't read speeches. I'm not good at, I memorize a lot of my speeches, portions of them, right? He just needs cue cards to keep him kind of on topic, a broad topic, but he can't write down every line because he's not good at reading and public speaking. Then he was sued for being a racist.
Person. He's smarter, however, than all of the people in the room, and then he gets sued for being a racist, okay, when he said that. But he basically said he has various mental incapacities. He has difficulty in various other ailments mentally. And I'm looking at it and saying, this is the worst interview. I'm watching this interview. I said, this is the worst interview I've ever seen given by a professional politician.
Right, because you can never be honest about yourself. You have to be the biggest, the best, the brightest, the smartest, the richest. You just lie your way to everything, right? Someone in the room is 6'3", you're 6'5". You know what I mean? If someone has $100 billion, you have 103.
Politician. I've been watching politicians for a long time, mostly on the previous side.
No one else acts like that. Other people talk about their shortcomings, or like, hey, I really struggled with this, or I had an issue with this, or whatever.
Because I haven't been doing this too long. How am I doing? Not bad for the number of minutes spent. Not bad. But with Gavin, so he said that all these things, and I said, anybody running against him, all they have to do is take that one interview and you can't lose. I actually put out a statement that Gavin Newsom has come out and said he will not be running for president because nobody can say what he said about himself and survive. Newsom was in big trouble when he openly admitted that Kamala was smarter than him. She said, Kamala, is smarter. If Kamala is smarter than someone, you don't want that person to be president of the United States of America. Between California's policies of
It's just him talking shit. These aren't jokes.
enabling wildfires, paying drug addicts to be homeless, giving free sex changes to illegals, and telling rich people they're going to take away, all of your money is going to be taken away. People are fleeing, and they're fleeing in droves. We can't have that in this country. It's becoming such a horrible and dangerous location that Ilhan Omar, one of my favorites, and her brother are thinking about moving together, very much in love. The video surfaced recently of Ilhan giving a speech referring to World War II and his world together, very much in love. It's such a horrible and dangerous location that Ilhan Omar, one of my favorites, and her brother are thinking about moving together.
Elon Omar. Elon Omar. It's Ilhan, but he says Elon.
They're very much in love. The video surfaced recently
And her brother.
of Ilhan giving a speech referring to World War II and his World War XI. And they asked her about that. She thought she got it right. But I'm not surprised because she's a low IQ person. And she's also a very dishonest person. And she ought to get the hell out of our country. She shouldn't be here. She shouldn't be in our country. She also calls her brother husband number one. Omar is reportedly being investigated for fraud. She revised her net worth. I was shocked to see that she was...
Yes, she was reading some type of prepared statements. And it said World War II for World War II. And she said 11 instead of saying 2. That happened.
worth much more than $30 million. And then when the press got on her...
She immediately said, they did not interview her afterwards, and she said, I thought I got it right. That was World War XI, right? She immediately said, oh, sorry, 2. I apologize. Like, immediately as it came out.
Of our country, she shouldn't be here. She shouldn't be in our country. She also calls her brother husband number one. Omar is reportedly being investigated for fraud. She revised her net worth. I was shocked to see that she was worth much more than $30 million. And then when the press got on her, she revised it slightly downward to less than 18,000. So she went from much more than 30 million to 18,000. I know Democrats, and the word Democrat is something that's come into fashion. I changed.
God damn, he's dumb as shit, dude. I'm announcing my candidacy.
I was shocked to see that she was worth much more than $30 million. And then when the press got on her, she revised it slightly downward to less than 18,000. So she went from much more than 30 million to 18,000. I know Democrats, and the word Democrat is slightly fraud. She revised her net worth. I was shocked to see that she was worth much more than $30 million. And then when the press got on her, she revised it slightly downward to less than 18,000. So she went from much more than 30 million to 18,000. I know Democrats, and the word Democrat is something that's come into fashion. I changed the E with a U, and most people don't know.
Wait a second. You're telling me that she said that she was worth 30 million, and the press asked her about it, and she said that she's only worth 18,000? Oh, she amended a filing, reduces her asset range to somewhere between 18,000 and 95,000 because her husband's company's valuations are no longer included on the form. Tied to her husband Tim Minette's business, Rose Lake Capital and Winery. Omar's spokesperson stated that the original accountant mistakenly listed total enterprise assets instead of individual ownership shares and failed to subtract the business liabilities and debts.
That dumb has a B, so we don't have to worry about that. The word Democrat is something downward to less than 18,000.
I think I invented this word, Democrat.
So she went from much more than 30 million to 18,000. I know Democrats, and the word Democrat is something that's come into fashion.
That's right, John.
E with a U, and most people
Good to see you.
Dumb has a B, so we don't have to worry about that.
Who are most people? Who are the people that have graduated high school? Trump voters, right? Who are the people that don't know that dumb, the word dumb, has a B on the end of it? Bravo. Most people don't know, so you don't even have to worry about that. You don't even have to remove it. Because people would be running around saying Dumbocrat. What's that?
And the word Democrat is something that's come into fashion. I changed the E with a U, and most people don't know that dumb has a B, so we don't have to worry about that. It's very quiet. I thought it was quite good, but I haven't gotten much credit for that. Fake news, good. Pocahontas, good. I won't say Lion Ted because he's on my side. I don't talk about past conquests, but we have a lot of them. I won't talk about. They got a whole table full of Republicans there. They're saying, no, don't mention my frickin' name, will you please? But we've had a lot of good names. But the Democrats are there to destroy wealth, and honestly, they've gone absolutely crazy. Gavin Newsom's not only a man who really wants to run for president, he's doing a bad job running a state. You can't have somebody like a J.B. Pritzker, who I understand is not president, sadly, but some people say, never use the fat word, and I don't. I would never call anybody fat. I have my own problems. It's not like I'm perfect. Sir,
Yes, you're fat, right? You wear fucking lifts. You wear a girdle. You stand at a goddamn 45-degree angle.
back. Don't call him a fat pig, okay?
Here we go.
Anybody fat? I have my own problems.
So he's trying to make this joke like he can't say it, but he's going to call out an imaginary person in the crowd and be like, you can't do that, sir. No, don't call him a fat piece of shit. Don't do it. You can't do that. And see, I can't get in trouble because I'm defending that guy. I'm telling him not to do it.
Problems, you know, it's not like I'm perfect. Sir, in the back, don't call him a fat pig, okay? I'm sticking up for him. Don't call him you. You can't do that, sir. You can't call J.B. Pritzker a fat pig, please. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everyone's trying to figure out who is that guy, does he exist? But the nice part is when you do that, the press can't get you because I'm defending a man who obviously has a problem. Actually, he's lost a lot of weight. I saw him recently. He lost quite a bit of weight. I don't know what the hell. He's got no chance, believe me. Anything he does, the family threw him out of the business. A number of other potential Democrat contenders sadly refused to show up tonight. We invited Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. She's referred to Pocahontas because, in fact, I had to apologize. People came up and they said, we want you to apologize to Elizabeth Warren for calling her Pocahontas. And I ended up apologizing to the real Pocahontas. But Elizabeth Warren was supposedly of Indian heritage. And then she took the test and she only had 1,024th Native American. And I said, you know what? I think I'm more of an Indian than she is. So this is what we have to deal with. But Senator Warren did not accept our invitation to debate. I wanted to debate her on various and sundry things, and she decided not to do it. And I decided to bury the hatchet. It doesn't matter. And she, well, I'm not going to say this next one. Do you want to hear this one? How bad? She wasn't high up on her totem pole. Who the hell wrote that? No, she's bad news. I wanted to make sure that Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, remember he went after me for about. She wasn't, it doesn't matter. And she, well, I'm not going to say this next one. You want to hear this one? How bad? She wasn't high up on her totem pole. Who the hell wrote that? No, she's bad news. I wanted to make sure that Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, remember he went after me for about 2 years. How did he do? Not too good. I'm in the White House and he's not doing as well. I was going to say he's in a different kind of a house, but he's a deranged human being. He's a bad prosecutor. You know, prosecutors are very important. A great prosecutor, a fair prosecutor, but that's the great prosecutors, the ones that are fair. They're very important to a country, but this guy was a deranged lunatic. So his invitation tonight, he was invited because, you know, but I put it in a private text to Chuck Grassley. And Chuck saw him and he did a certain thing. And then one man that we had who should be here, he turned Palestinian. This was a man who was 100% for Israel. 100%. Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. Remember he cried at the airport over illegal immigrants? They were the fakest tears. There were people throwing water in his face. But now he's a proud, very proud Palestinian. In fact, I'm going to send him a beautiful Palestinian outfit tomorrow so he can greet Bibi Netanyahu when he comes to town next week, along with the mayor, who I'm sure would love to meet Bibi. They're not treating Bibi too well, but Chuck wanted to join us tonight. A deranged human being. How did he do? Not too good. I'm in the world with that. She, well, I'm not going to say this next one. Do you want to hear this one? How bad? She wasn't high up on her totem pole. Who the hell wrote that? No, she's bad news. I wanted to make sure that Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, remember he went after me for about 2 years. How did he do? Not too good. I'm in the White House and he's not doing as well. I was going to say he's in a different kind of a house, but he's a deranged human being. He's a bad prosecutor. You know, prosecutors are very important. A great prosecutor, a fair prosecutor, but that's the great prosecutors, the ones that are fair. They're very important to a country, but this guy was a deranged lunatic. So his invitation tonight, he was invited because, you know, but I put it in a private text to Chuck Grassley. And Chuck saw him and he did a certain thing. And then one man that we had who should be here, he turned Palestinian. This was a man who was 100% for Israel. 100%. Chuck Schumer, who should be here, he private text to Chuck Grassley.
Jesus Christ.
Chuck saw him and he did a certain thing. And then one man that we had.
Thank you, Richard.
He turned Palestinian. This was a man who was 100% for Israel. 100%. Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. Remember he cried at the airport over illegal immigrants? They were the fakest tears. There were people throwing water in his face. But now he's a proud, very proud Palestinian. In fact, I'm going to send him a beautiful Palestinian outfit tomorrow so he can greet Bibi Netanyahu when he comes to town next week, along with the mayor, who I'm sure would love to meet Bibi. They're not treating Bibi too well, but Chuck wanted to join us tonight, but he didn't want to be violating many parts of the Palestinian rules, regulations, and certainly he didn't want to violate Sharia law, his new founding. And all joking aside, I do think we need term limits in Congress.
Where is the joking? All joking aside, what jokes, bro?
I think term limits are very important because I see what's happening. The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? You know, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually.
Now, that one could have hit better. I mean, at least it was a joke.
The only thing I thought was good in this whole freaking stupid speech that they wrote. That was the only good one, and that went down with not exactly great laughter. I think, you know, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love, too. You know. So we're looking for term limits. Does anybody understand this stuff? But I really do wonder whether the Democrats are trying to lose the midterms. In Maine, they nominated a guy with a Nazi tattoo. But don't worry, Democrats. Word is that Plattner's replacement, he throws bottles at women. This guy throws bottles. This guy's another lunatic, by the way. Although I think Plattner might have done surprisingly well because we're in the age of Trump. Just call it what you want. People can do well today. Plattner, I don't know. But, you know, people don't have the guts to stick it out, but it looked like.
Donald Trump was born in the motherfucking 40s, dude. The 40s.
He was guilty of the age of Trump. Just call it what you want.
This other guy throws bottles at women. He's a woman bottler.
People can do well today. Plattner, I don't know. But, you know, people don't have the guts to stick it out, but it looked
like Chuck Grassley was born in the 30s.
He was guilty of a lot of stuff. He certainly didn't defend himself very well. In Texas, the Democrats are running a candidate who might have done surprisingly well because we're in The age of Trump. Let's call it what you want. People can do well today. Plattner, I don't know. But, people don't have the guts to stick it out, but it looked like he was guilty of a lot of stuff. He certainly didn't defend himself very well. In Texas, the Democrats are running a candidate named James Telefrico, who hates guns, hates oil, hates sex, hates women, and who said he is, quote, a Christian who hates Christianity. Other than that, I think his platform is quite good. And that means that he's not going to do very well against Ken Paxton, who hopefully in Texas is going to win. But Telefrico, he's Alfred. You know what he looks like to me? Alfred E. Newman. You remember Alfred E. Newman, Mad Magazine? I said, that guy is Alfred E. Newman. Can't imagine he'd win. Well, I have all of the press here in one place. I have to say that we're having an amazing load of accomplishments that the media never talks about. For example, under my administration, a once feared and powerful regime that relentlessly attacked America has finally been toppled. Their former leaders have been removed, and they're now being run by a gay dictator facing internal divisions. But I, for one, wish Barry Weiss all the best at CBS News. She's a wonderful woman. Internally relentlessly attacked America has finally been toppled. That the media never talks about. For example, under the press here in one place, I have to say that we're having an amazing load of accomplishments that the media never talks about. For example, under my administration, a once feared and powerful regime that relentlessly attacked America has finally been toppled. Their former leaders have been removed, and they're now being run by a gay dictator facing internal divisions. But I, for one, wish Barry Weiss all the best at CBS News.
A gay dictator, Barry Weiss.
She's a wonderful woman. Most of the press lives here in Washington, D.C., and you should be thankful for me for what my administration and I have done to make our nation's capital, which was one of the most dangerous and
He's comparing, not, I guess people don't know. Alfred E. Newman is that, that, was it Mad Magazine? That kid with his tongue stuck out on Mad Magazine, the famous photo or whatever. That's who he's saying Tallarico looks like, which could have been a better joke. Or maybe he needed the image there. But he's comparing these two. It wasn't a very good one. Let's see if I can find a Alfred E. Newman. He was saying Alfred. He was saying it so fast it was hard to even understand what he was saying.
Unsafe cities anywhere in the world. My administration run by a gay dictator facing internal divisions, but I, for one, wish Barry Weiss all the best at CBS News. She's a wonderful woman. Most of the press lives here in Washington, D.C., and you should be thankful for me for what my administration and I have done to make our nation's capital, which was one of the most dangerous and unsafe cities anywhere in the world, one of the safest cities in the United States. Crime is down 88%, and our capital is shining again with 62 monument statues, water fountains looking more beautiful. The graffiti's all gone. The tents are all moved out of the parks. The fences are all done. Our capital looks like it's...
So the New York Times, I believe, one of the papers, one of the news agencies took images that had been captured of the reflecting pool. And through these images, they basically kind of produced a time lapse of the work that was being done there. Okay. And here, I'll do this. So if this is the whole, if this is the whole reflecting pool, this is the whole thing, right? Well, when they started doing their, let me finish that. When they started doing their work, they would paint like this much. It's not supposed to be perfectly square, but they would paint like that much, and it would be done. And then you can see in the images, the next thing they would do is they would paint like this much. And you can tell by the way the color's changing, right? It kept getting lighter the more it had been there. And then let's say they did this strip. Right? See how it's different shades? That's the point I'm trying to make. And then let's say they did this part. But you could tell from the images, as it was curing, it was getting darker or lighter or whatever. And you could tell okay, well, obviously, let's say, this is what they did day 1, 2, this is all 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, right? You could tell how much they had accomplished on which day, even though the whole thing was done, you could tell it was curing at different rates because this was, 2 weeks older than the rest of it. And this was 1 week and 6 days older than the rest of it or whatever. Well, what they found out was by comparing these pictures, once the pool was drained, and they compared these pictures to the damage at the pool, everywhere there was damage was where one of these sections started and began again. Like that was damaged, and then let's say this one was damaged, and then this one had a tear in it. It was and experts have said, yeah, one of the biggest things for, cohesion, right, is to a continuous uniform. It should have, somehow they should have had enough manpower to do it all in one day or all in a day and a half or 2 days or whatever. Instead of this patchwork together, all the failure points were at places where they tried to patch this shit together. That was part of the problem. Not a knife, not a Democrat, not an algae farm, not Antifa. It was where they tried to patch this shit together and make it work, even though they had done it over several days. That's the failure point. It wasn't a solid uniform surface. Instead, it was like it was 30 mini ones. And that's where where it started to peel at. Everywhere they had like a hard stop and a hard start.
Really in good shape, and people on 88%, and our capital is shining again with 62 monuments, statues, water fountains looking more beautiful. The graffiti's all gone. The tents are all moved out of the parks. The fences are all done. Our capital looks like it's really in good shape. And people coming here, people in the White House, they work in the White House, they all say, young women, young guys walk up. They say, thank you, sir. 2 years ago,
I don't know much about Mad Magazine. I'm just too young. Other than, like, I've seen the images a bunch, like that kid with his tongue stuck out and his big fucking ears, the Alfred kid. I've seen that on T-shirts and seen magazine covers and lunchboxes and shit like that. But I have no reference to what Mad Magazine was, who read it, when it was like cultural. Like I have no idea other than knowing it kind of exists.
We lived in a dangerous city. We lived in a city where 150 people were killed a year. And now we have almost a crime-free city. Our National Guard has done an incredible job, and we've removed over 5,000 career criminals. We removed, there's one stat, I think it's a great stat. It's to me, it's fantastic. 2% of the people create 91% of the crime. That's something you can fix, and we fix it. We moved out over 5,000 career criminals out of Washington, D.C., and we have the greatest capital in the world. Again, it's beautiful, it's thriving, the restaurants are thriving. You couldn't get into a restaurant because they didn't have, all the restaurants were closing, and if you even got in, you felt unsafe. People were getting into Ubers, and they were being attacked when they were in an Uber. It's not happening anymore. We have tough, smart people, and they have done a fantastic job. Washington, D.C. is safe again.
The statistics, 2% of people commit 91 or 90% of the crime is a talking point frequently cited by political figures like Donald Trump, but there is zero evidence, no official or verified nationwide data supporting this ratio.
You can't get into a restaurant. The restaurants are opening up. They're opening up all over the city. They can't get, it's the exact opposite. They can't get space. But mostly I've given up on you and the media so that...
There is absolutely fucking concentration, right? Like... A small percentage of a given population are often chronic or repeat offenders or career offenders, right? Whether that's because of poverty or addiction or, the way they were raised, whatever. That is true. But this 2%, 90% thing, there's no data to support that.
Now, I just gave up on you, and I'm number one on TikTok. Did you see that I'm number one, Stephen? Is that true? I'm number one on TikTok. So how could they be so bad? 525.
This is not true. He's not the biggest creator on TikTok. He's not the most watched. He's not the most followed. He's not the most liked. He just made this up. He's like, the people brought me the numbers, and Donald Trump's number one on TikTok. That's just not true. I think someone's come in and said, hey, our biggest platform this month by far was TikTok, and you're doing really well there, which I'm sure he is. Like, he probably gets a lot of engagement on TikTok. Number one, absolutely not. Nowhere near that.
Up in you, and I'm number one on TikTok. Did you see that I'm number one, Stephen? Is that true? I'm number one on TikTok. So how could they be so bad? 525, think of this, 425 billion views. Can you believe that, Peter? I mean, let's go, Peter. I gave up on you people. I gave up on traditional press, and it obviously worked because we did win in a landslide. I mean, somebody's got to be saying something good about me. But TikTok, good old TikTok, and I was able to get it sold to a group of very wealthy people, mostly Americans. I was told President Xi, who's a man that I get along with very well, he was a hard no for the sale of TikTok. They all said he's a hard no. I said, well, let's call, put your group together. They put it together, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. I called up President Xi. I said, President, look, these are American people. They're wonderful.
His official account. So it says Donald Trump has received that he had, what did he say? How was the views?
Pretty saying something good about me. I gave up on you people. I gave up on 125. Think of that in you, and I'm number one on TikTok. Did you see that I'm number one, Stephen? Is that true? I'm number one on TikTok. So how could they be so bad? 525. Think of this, 425 billion views. Can you believe it?
425 billion views. The 425 billion views is literally not his content, not his account, not any fucking account. It's hashtag Trump. A lot of people put that on videos that where they hate him, dislike him, or don't have anything to do with him. Some people just use it to try to get on the For You page. So hashtag Trump allegedly has 425 billion views. Trump has 16.7 million followers, 122 million likes, around 4 billion views is his claimed views for his account. The 425 billion is for the hashtag Trump. I've seen hashtag Trump around the election time was just on every fucking video because people were trying to get on the For You page, even if it had nothing to do with politics at all.
Believe that, Peter? I mean, let's go, Peter. I gave up on you people. I gave up on traditional press, and it obviously worked because we did win in a landslide. I mean, somebody's got to be saying something good about me.
We did win in a landline.
But TikTok, good old TikTok. I gave up on traditional press, and it obviously worked because we did win in a landslide. I mean, somebody's got to be saying something.
We did win he won in a landline.
Good about me, but TikTok, good old TikTok, and I was able to get it sold to a group of very wealthy people, mostly Americans. They were told President Xi, who's a man that I get along with very well, he was a hard no for the sale of TikTok. They all said he's a hard no. I said, well, let's call it, put your group together. They put it together, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. I called up President Xi. I said, President, look, these are American people. They're wonderful people. In fact, one of them happens to own CBS, actually. I mentioned his name. I said, these are wonderful people, and it'll be a good thing. Doesn't mean anything, President. It's nothing. It's nothing. They love your country. We'd love to see you approve the deal. And he goes, all right. That was it. It was done. And we sold TikTok. And he's a friend of mine. And he's not contributing to problems like other people contribute to problems. So we get along. But we made the deal. But number one on TikTok is Trump, and that's probably why we won. But for all of the trouble...
It's just not true. It's not true.
...that you give me a lot of trouble, a lot of heartache. I hope all of you know that I believe in the free press more than...
It's so stupid to say that. He's like, the numbers are in. The TikTok people told me I was number one. Like, people can look this up. It's like Phil lying about his views. It's so 63 million people tonight. I'm the only person that can see that.
Anyone in this room does. Maybe not quite. But that's why I'm proud to be the most open and transparent president in history. They call me that. You know who calls me that? Caroline. That's about it. Would anybody else call me that? I think Peter would call me that. Am I the most transparent? Biden never used to answer your questions. He'd ask Biden 20 questions and never get an answer. Who's the most transparent president, Peter? Who? I look at him. It's the first time he's tongue-tied. I cannot believe it. Oh, he's not going to be happy tomorrow. But you people have no idea how lucky you are when I'm gone. You're all going to be broke. Your business model is going to be finished. No, it's true. When I'm not around, you're going to be broke. There's not going to be anybody to report on. Nobody gives a damn about anybody else. The New York Times the other day had 5 stories about me. You know, before I got into politics, in my whole life, I had 7 front-page stories. This is years of success. I think 6 were good, 1 was bad. I had 5 stories, 5 good. Yeah, I had a total of 7 stories on the front page of the New York Times. That's not bad. Now I average about 3 or 4 a day. All different topics, all bad, everything bad. But here we are.
Yeah, you're a horrible person.
I mean, here we are. In fact, when I'm finished, I'm going right back to the Oval Office, so I have to be doing okay. But we are all doing good together. That's why tonight, to show just how much I care about the press, and I want to save your ratings, I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official. In fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you. I'm going to do it again. It should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the second time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we don't have to talk about it. You know, it's interesting when you come back and you do a good job like we did, and you don't care about it so much, but we do have to tighten up these elections because they really are in seriously bad shape. But on a serious note, I want to say once again, I just want to thank you all. It's been an interesting evening. I didn't really know what to expect, and it's far worse than I actually thought, but if you want to know that. But I didn't know exactly what to expect, and I made a lot of friends tonight. I made a lot of good friends tonight, probably made some enemies also, but it's been an experience that is something that we've all shared together because we're all in this room tonight because most of us went through a period of trauma from just a short while ago. And you know, some people said they wanted to come, but they were afraid to come, and you people weren't afraid to come. There were a lot of people that...
I've never been afraid to come. I'll bust anywhere.
Said, Jackie, they don't really, they didn't have the courage to come, and we don't want that to happen, and I'm sure it's not going to happen. We're going to do things. Again, I want to thank our law enforcement, keeps us safe, all law enforcement. We have the greatest people on earth. You know, we had, 2 years ago, we had the worst record of recruitment in, as an example, the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard, Space Force. I love Space Force. Look at all that shooting we're able to do from space. That was my baby. But all of the branches of you couldn't get people to join. This was 2 years ago. And last week, you probably saw, some of you wrote the story, we have the single best recruiting of people into our armed forces than we have ever had in the history of our country. They are brimming over with great people. And that's a big statement. And that also goes for the police departments where they were having a tremendous problem recruiting. You can't get into a police department now if you're looking for a job. It's very tough. And that also includes our great fire departments because people forget about them. They're unbelievable, the job they do. So I just want to thank you. Look, we're on the cusp of something big, and I call it, and this, I'm being very serious when I say this, that this is the golden age of America. We have $19.2 trillion being spent in our country. A record was China. I think it was 10 years ago, 3 trillion. Trillion is a lot. 4 years, they went less than $1 trillion under Biden, and we have $19.2 trillion, and this is a period of actually 13 months, not even current, because we're here a little bit longer than that, but that was as of reporting dates. $19.2 trillion is being spent. Factories are coming. Toyota just announced they're going to be building the biggest car plant in the world. They're leaving Mexico. They're coming. Tariffs did that. Tariffs did that.
Amazing.
November 5th did that too, the election. But our country is doing things that nobody's ever seen before, and it is true. We were, and you've heard me say this, we were a dead country 2 years ago. Other leaders would see me, and they'd say it's a miracle. President Xi told me that a few weeks ago in China.
I think if we want to save our communities, there needs to be a federal law imposed saying that states, municipalities, cities, towns, counties, or whatever are no longer allowed to vie for business by giving that business tax breaks. It's just fucking insane, dude. Right? It's a race to the fucking bottom. We bring these companies in and say, oh, well, you know, build your factory, blah, 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 give us jobs for 10 years and you won't have to pay taxes for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, they just close the fucking door and move to the next state, lay everybody off, shut everything down, leave the building fucking empty and go somewhere else on tax breaks. And we could use that fucking tax revenue to improve everybody's fucking life. Like, if a business is going to be successful, it should be able to do it without getting gigantic fucking tax breaks from the government. The fucking data centers are fucking insane. Data centers have fucking taxpayers paying for them, but apparently they're billionaire or billion-dollar businesses, multi-billions of dollars in business. The taxpayers are funding everything, and they'll never fucking pay taxes ever. Like, it's fucking insane. And states are cutting each other's throats. A business trying to decide between Tennessee and North Carolina. Tennessee says we don't pay taxes for 10 years. North Carolina says 11. Then Tennessee says 12. Then North Carolina says 13. Back and forth, and they're not getting any of this tax revenue at all that they need. That's how the government functions. Get rid of fucking tax breaks to incentivize businesses to come and make it a fair playing field, that one state that can afford to offer, 20 years no taxes, and another state can only afford to offer 10 years no taxes, and that state just gets fucked. They should be going there for the workforce, the city, the opportunities, the resources to be close to their manufacturer, whatever they need, but not because this state's giving them 5 more years they don't have to fucking pay taxes. I don't understand. That's a race to the bottom, and nobody's a winner except for the companies. The company is the winner. You never get the revenue. You never have the jobs stay there. They always move off as soon as they can get a better fucking deal. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Miracle. President Xi told me that a few weeks ago in China, 2 years ago. Other leaders would see me, and they'd say it's a miracle. President, our country is doing things that nobody's ever seen before, and it is true. We were, and you've heard me say this, we were a dead country 2 years ago.
Now we're the hottest.
And they'd say it's a miracle. President Xi told me that a few weeks ago in China, and he's coming here on September, I think 24th, coming in September, the end of September, going to be exciting. But he said the same thing. The King of Saudi Arabia said it. Everyone said almost the same words. We thought you were a dead country.
I don't think states are going to do it on their own. So there's no incentive for states to do it or cities to do it, right? If you're competing with a neighboring city, you need jobs, you need your people to work, you need investment in the area. You're going to do everything you can to get that business. And the going thing is, we'll fund it, we'll subsidize it, and we'll give you fucking tax breaks. So we can't bank on them to do it because they're just trying to fucking survive. States aren't going to do it because they're competing against other states. The federal government needs to step in and be like, hey, we just can't do this. We can't do it. It's a race to the bottom.
Country. We never thought you had a chance. You're never going to make it back. And in a period of 1 year, you made it the hottest country.
Think about every large corporation that is subsidized by these gigantic tax breaks, and think about what the revenue stream would look like if they were paying their full fucking taxes. Like, I'm talking about states that are completely in the fucking red, that are going under, that can't afford to, do their fucking food stamps and their Medicaid and Medicare and blah, 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 going back positive again because they've got thousands of businesses that aren't paying any fucking taxes because that's what they had to do to fight to get them there. It's insane.
September leaders would see me, and they'd say it's a miracle. President Xi told me that a few weeks ago in China, and he's coming here on September, I think 24th, coming in September, the end of September, going to be exciting. But he said the same thing. The King of Saudi Arabia said it. Everyone said almost the same words. We thought you were a dead country. We never thought you had a chance. You're never going to make it back. And in a period of 1 year, you made it the hottest country.
You're talking about the Ohio 1 plant? What is that in New Haven? New something? You're talking about the Intel Ohio one, New Albany. Yes, New Albany. It's called the Ohio one. It's an Intel plant.
In the world, we all did that together. It's not me. We all did it together.
They pushed it all the way back, their completion date to like 2035 or something stupid. Like they just kept pushing it back, kept pushing it back, kept pushing it back.
President Xi told me that a few weeks ago in China, and he's coming here on September, I think, 24th. Coming in September, the end of September. Going to be exciting. But he said the same thing. The King of Saudi Arabia said it. Everyone said almost the same words. We thought you were a dead country. We never thought you had a chance. You were never going to make it back. And in a period of 1 year, you made it the hottest country anywhere in the world. We all did that together. It's not me. We all did it together. And we do. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we're going to keep it going. And I just want to say, in this room, I have tremendous respect for the people in this room. Sometimes I don't feel you.
So Trump would never admit that, but the reason they're building it to begin with, I just Googled it. It says that they're still committed. State leaders in Jobs Ohio report that Intel remains and reaffirms its long-term pledge despite local frustration over the shifted timeline. They had steep net losses and a sharp stock decline, global workforce reductions that forced capital spending cutbacks. The company has slowed development, but is still working and using this time to better align manufacturing readiness with actual customer demand and external foundry needs. But it does say the project is backed by the Federal CHIPS Act and state infrastructure investments. So it's Joe Biden, the whole reason the plant's being built.
Treat me fair, or maybe you do. I don't know. I don't feel that, but sometimes you treat me very fairly. And I have a lot of respect for your profession. Your profession's amazing. And I just want to thank you for having me. And it's been fun. And I've met a lot of great people. And, I used an expression. I've used it right from the beginning. I did this for one reason, to make America great again. And that's what's happening right before your very eyes. We have made America great again. It's going to get a lot greater. So thank you all very much. It's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So no jokes, no comedy, no humor whatsoever. Just Trump being fucking terrible, bro. Like it's bad. Bad. And it always is. All right, I got some Bork. You guys want to listen to some Bork clips? Let's see what these are. Did he forget about his celibacy?
He's given up. He says, I'm going to be 68 in October and I'm done. I don't go out anymore. I sit at home. I don't bother shaving. I don't want a girlfriend. He says, quit. He just quit. I'm like, bro, I can get you out a little bit. Come on. Don't quit. Don't give up yet. I'm not giving up until my hips do. Once my hips say you're not doing this anymore, then I'll quit.
Ooh.
I'm not giving up. I won't give up. No.
Disgusting. What are you doing with your hips?
You're looking at an entertainer here that knows about entertainment. And
he thinks that people were just being mean. Trump was hilarious and people were just being mean to Trump so they wouldn't cover him or they wouldn't laugh at his jokes.
Most entertainers won't tell you this. I'll tell you. It's easier to entertain thousands than it is to entertain hundreds. It's easier to entertain hundreds than it is to entertain dozens. It's easier to entertain dozens than it is to entertain one person. By nature, follow the crowd. You've heard me talk about it a lot. I told you that I'm one of those people that does the absolute opposite of what the crowd is doing. Always have, always will.
They put Scooter the crowd can support themselves, has family that loves them, and have steady housing. So Bort's doing the opposite.
What the hell is that? It's a terrible logo. It's terrible.
That was funny. It was Bort's logo. Trump fell? There's a clip going around of Trump falling. It looks like it.
A viral video claims to show President Trump stumbling while getting into a presidential limousine. The clip
looks like he just sat the fuck down, dude.
Appears to show Trump losing his balance before a Secret Service agent steps in to assist him. The video has been widely shared on X, with several posts claiming Trump collapsed while entering the vehicle and suggesting the footage was broadcast live. However, those claims have not been independently verified. The video's authenticity has sparked intense online debate.
Authenticity unverified. Is it real?
Likely AI generated.
Could be.
What they describe as visual inconsistencies, including unusual movements and apparent glitches involving.
It is a weird way to fall.
And the Secret Service agent. Others have.
Oh, wait, the Secret Service agent's ass is going through the vehicle. Yeah, it's AI.
Questioned the way Trump's appear to buckle in the footage.
Okay, it's AI.
You could take on. It's a slingshot. You could take on Goliath with that thing.
Uh-oh.
Imagine if all the rednecks showed up in New York City when the Mom Damn It fans are doing this right here. When they come back up, poof, right there. You wouldn't even hear it coming.
Shooting Muslims while they're praying is Bart's idea.
I was excited about it because I was going to be moving from the outside bar into the showroom with my show when Michael Jackson got his big showroom. They were going to turn that Star Trek experience into that. And I've been planning on that move inside because we were outside three nights a week at the pool, which the pool at the Hilton's a big deal. If you're performing out there, there's a huge audience.
Basically, Elvis and Michael Jackson working together.
Am I the only one that has noticed since CERN has went offline the changes that have happened?
Yes.
I mean, the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia is now all of a sudden back.
You guys know that Fruit Loops has always been spelled wrong, right? Like the O's in fruit are two fucking Fruit Loops. The O's and loops are two fucking, like, it's always been that way.
Chick-fil-A is now C-H-I-C-K again instead of C-Opia is now all of a sudden back. Chick-fil-A is now C-H-I-C-K again instead of C-H-I-C. Bob Dylan is back and alive for some reason after CERN shut down. But one that has me really tripping out is Bewitched. Now I'm a Gen X. I watched Bewitched.
Phil's followers are saying that they feel weird now that CERN's turned off.
Growing up with my parents, but if you remember, she twitched her nose and made things happen. Now she moves and twitches her mouth.
She kind of did them both together. She'd like move her mouth. That would make the bottom of her nose move.
Energizer Bunny. Have you seen the new Energizer Bunny mascot? That thing is creepy as all get out. Time has slowed down again. Remember, time was going by really fast. Things were accelerated. Now time has eased back. And
they slowed time down. That makes sense.
No more lucid dreams. No more headaches. Can we just keep CERN off, like, for good? Am I the only one that is
That does make sense, though. Oh no, the archive link is down. Damn it. Hold on. Trump cut $1 billion mining deal. His sons stand to profit. An agreement between the U.S. and Kazakhstan has given a group of American investors with ties to the president. Damn, it's not going to let me read the full article. I have to find it somewhere else. That's why I had an archive link of it. Demands New York Times retracts. Government-backed deal sparks legal demand. A legal letter to the Times editor Joseph Kahn argues the brothers had no operational role in Cove Capital Agreement.
As a business.
The Trump organization demand the New York Times retract a story it calls libelous and claims was deliberately crafted to suggest financial impropriety by Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, according to a legal letter obtained by Fox News Digital. The letter stems from a Times story published this week titled "Trump Cut $1 Billion Mining Deal, His Sons Stand to Profit," which ties the elder Trump brothers and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's sons to a tungsten deal secured by President Donald Trump with Kazakhstan President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev in September of 2025. Your June 28th article is deeply misleading and appears deliberately crafted to create the false impression that Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump were involved in or sought to influence the decision to award the Kazakhstan tungsten mine project to an affiliate of Cove Capital. No, it accidentally happened to them, dude. It accidentally, like they had no idea. They kind of wish their dad didn't give them a multi-billion-dollar deal. The letter is addressed to the Times editor-in-chief Joseph Kahn, along with authors of the story Eric Lipton and Paul Sohn. As your own reporting and interviews with those involved all clearly demonstrate that implication is demonstrably false. The letter continues. A spokesperson for the New York Times defended its reporting and addressed the letter by telling Fox News Digital, the Trump organization does not deny the main point of our story, that Eric and Donald Trump have profited from the U.S. Kazakh tungsten mining agreement. The letter mainly disputes whether the article gave enough prominence to the fact that the brothers were indirect and passive investors, a point that is clearly set out in the story. New York Times Executive Director of Media Relations Charlie Statlander added in the statement, tungsten is a mineral used by the United States to develop military equipment, including missiles and fighter jets. Currently, China, Russia, and North Korea have a stranglehold on the resource, and the Trump administration has made it a strategic priority to secure a pipeline to obtain the mineral, which is all fine. His sons and Howard Lutnick's sons just shouldn't be involved. We need a tungsten mine, I would say. Kazakhstan is rich in tungsten, and from the outset of his second term in office, Trump sought to make a deal with a Central Asian country to tap into its tungsten supply, even as his own tariff policies have caused price surges and bottlenecks for the import of this metal. The makings of a deal culminated in September 2025 meeting at the St. Regis Hotel in New York, where Lutnick hosted Tokayev. Trump joined by phone, and the parties came to a verbal agreement for the United States to procure tungsten, according to Times. So Howard Lutnick was there. Trump called in, and it just so happened that the company they did the deal with happens to belong to Trump and Howard Lutnick's sons, or they're major investors in it. Wild. The Times report stems from the Trump brothers' relationship to an investment firm called Dominari Securities. The brothers invest in some deals made by Dominari, and they have a minority share in the parent company, Dominari Holdings. A source familiar with the matter explained the details of how Trump brothers became passive investors in a tungsten mining operation. An investment fund by Dominari Securities invested in a publicly traded construction company called Skyline Builders in August 2025. After the verbal September, just 1 month later, they invest, and 1 month later, they get this gigantic, the first ever tungsten deal. After the verbal September 2025 agreement, Skyline approached Cove Capital, the company that invested in the tungsten mining project, and solicited a merger that would allow Cove Capital affiliate Cove Cas to go public, the source detailed. The project has been backed by letters of interest from U.S. government financing agencies totaling up to $1.6 billion. At no point, the source reiterated, did the brothers have any influence over the decision to award the mining contract to Cause Resources. This is echoed in the letter to the Times, where it states Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump had absolutely no involvement in the award of the Kazakhstan project. Furthermore, Cove Capital was not introduced to Skyline Builders until about 1 month after the September 2025 verbal agreement, according to a legal letter and third-party communications obtained by Fox News Digital. These communications also reveal that Cove Capital leadership never spoke to either of the Trump brothers about the financing support before it was executed. Don and Eric exercised no control over either company, played no role. Of course they didn't. But if they said, hey, this is going to be the only tungsten mine we're going to get, we should get behind this, and you should make sure to sign on to this, and it should become public, and we should be invested in it. No, never. Don and Eric exercised no control over either company, played no role and no knowledge of Cove Capital's pursuit of the Kazakhstan project, participated in no negotiation related to the project, and never even discussed the Kazakhstan project with anyone at Skyline, Cove Capital, or any of their respective affiliates, the Trump Organization letter to the Times says. Their connection to Cove Capital is therefore remote, indirect, and highly attenuated. The letter accuses the Times of intentionally misleading the readers before it revealed the tenuous relationship between the brothers and the tungsten mining project. Indeed, in a message to my clients sent prior to the publication of the story, your team expressly acknowledged that Don and Eric were not actively a part of this deal, the letter says. Based upon the foregoing, we demand that New York Times promptly retract and prominently correct the false and misleading impression created by the article and ensure that any future reporting accurately reflects the undisputed facts, including that Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump have no operational role in any of the entities involved, no involvement whatsoever in the Kazakhstan project or its negotiations, and as a matter of indisputable chronology, could not have influenced the award of the project. The letter ends by expressly reserving all rights and remedies to solve the problem, including potential legal action. Thank you very much for the follow. The Trump organization sounded off on the New York Times in a statement to Fox News Digital, calling the insinuation that the Trump brothers had involvement in the tungsten deal to Cove Capital categorically false, misleading, and libelous. The statement addressed the timeline of events and reiterates that Trump brothers had no control over Cove Capital, its affiliates, or Skyline Builders. Of course, all of these facts are readily ascertainable and could have easily been verified had anyone from the New York Times or any other publication that republished this supposed story performed even the slightest amount of due diligence before proceeding with such reckless and unfounded assertions, the statement said. The only special interest guiding the Trump administration's decision-making is the best interest of the American people, said the White House spokesman Kush Desai said in a statement to Fox News Digital. Securing and restoring America's critical supply chains has been a top priority for President Donald Trump and Secretary Lutnick, along with the rest of the administration, continue to take historic action to safeguard America's national and economic security. The Commerce Department did not return a request for comment on the deal or allegations that Lutnick's two sons improperly benefited from this agreement. I don't know if they improperly benefited from this agreement, but they did. Like illegal. I'm not saying they illegally did anything, but they stand to profit quite a bit, right?
The scary part of all of this is that the argument you're hearing right now out of DC is, oh, we don't want to give financial aid in the same way to Israel. But what's happened is this sentiment is spreading like a virus. And it's not just about financial aid. Marcus, to your point, it's about anti-Semitism. And we've seen so much of this take hold and take root in our country in really frightening ways.
So now Lara Trump is trying to shill for foreign aid by crying anti-Semitism. Classic. We've heard this millions of times. But here's what's even more diabolical than that. Last year, Salem Media Group announced a landmark deal with Don Jr. and Lara Trump, where she not only entered a huge strategic agreement with them, but she also became a significant stakeholder in Salem Media. You'll see national news stories about Brad Parscale, Trump's former campaign manager, in the news all week. They're finally covering what I covered.
That's right, Richard.
Which is he's now a registered
They have a lot of experience.
Foreign agent for Israel, literally a foreign agent, trying to influence the American public on behalf of the government of Israel to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. But are you ready? He is the chief strategy officer at Salem Media. Salem Media has a registered foreign agent of Israel as their chief strategy officer. Lara Trump owns a stake in the company and cries anti-Semitism on television in order to shill for foreign aid for Israel. Part of the foreign agent contract for Brad said integration of narrative messaging into Salem Media properties and aligned distribution channels. Could you imagine if I was a registered foreign agent of Saudi Arabia and I was on television saying, oh, all this anti-Islamophobia, we need to give more money to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, everybody's just Islamophobic. Feels like it would be the biggest story in conservative media. I mean, to be fair, Wall Street Journal is covering this, but for some reason, doing this with Israel is just status quo with America. I mean, even Nancy Pelosi says if the capital of the U.S. crumbles to the ground, we'll still be funneling money to Israel.
I have said to people when they ask me if this capital crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, and I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel. That's fundamental.
I mean, of course that's weird, but don't worry, she's on stage with pro-Israel Chuck Schumer and an Israeli-American billionaire donor, so cool it with the anti-Semitism. We don't want to upset the parrots on Fox News. Let me know what you think in the
13 billion. I want to show this video again, and I fucking lost it, so let me see if I can find it. There was a chart about this. The guy's Asian looking. I know I follow him. Let me see if I can find it. It was in response to a comment. Give me just a second. It was in response to a comment. Someone said, now, if you were honest, you would show how much Hunter Biden or do Nancy Pelosi next kind of deal. And And the guy had this chart that compared like the Trump family, how much they've made since Trump's been in office versus Nancy Pelosi versus Hunter Biden. And you couldn't even see the fucking scale. I wish I could find that again. Hold on. I know I've sent it to myself 100 times, but I always lose the fucking link from it. We're orders of magnitude separate, right? Like comparing the two, it's not even fucking close. I'm gonna have to find it and share it later, but the chart was just mind blowing. I sent the damn it, I know I sent it to Mariah's mom. That was one of the people I sent it to. I think I screenshot the chart, but I can't remember. The amounts, the dollar amounts, when people were trying to compare, like, oh, well, Hunter did it, the Biden crime family, blah, blah, blah. Like, when you blew up the chart to, like, see, like, how much the Trump family has made versus, like, the Hunter Biden scandal that Republicans went on and on and on and on and on and on and on about, you couldn't even see Hunter Biden. You couldn't even tell it was even a line there. Like, it was fucking insane, the chart was. And I can't remember that guy's name. Hold on. I'm searching every time I can find you. Just give me a minute. I like that guy's content, too. I wish I could remember his fucking name. Here, I'll give you something to watch while I'm looking.
Donald Trump is worth a little over $2 billion. Most of that came from...
Here, watch this while I'm scrolling at least.
At the end of his first term, Donald Trump is worth a little over $2 billion. Most of that came from his 40-plus year career in real estate development and discriminating against black people. Today, in 2026, Donald Trump is worth over $6.5 billion, nearly 3 times that what he was worth just a few years ago. A massive portion of this wealth came from cryptocurrency, which might come as a surprise to you if you look at this graph of how the Trump meme coin is currently performing. Since its peak right after launch, it's fallen over 97%, effectively wiping out billions of dollars in market cap. Only 58 wallets have actually made profits in excess of $10 million on Trump coin, nearly all of whom got in early and dumped as soon as the coin spiked. However, Trump didn't make $636 million from the price of the coin alone, but rather a fee imposed on every single token transaction since he dumped on his loyal fan base. Trump and his regime cronies saw the potential of these assets as something more than just a way of extracting value from MAGA. They saw it as a potential vehicle to accept bribes. In 2025, government officials of the United Arab Emirates purchased a 49% stake in his crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. A few months later, an Abu Dhabi-backed investment group invested $2 billion into the crypto exchange Binance using Trump's stablecoin USD1. 3 weeks later, Binance listed USD1 on their exchange. 7 days after that, the SEC dismissed its multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against Binance for selling unregistered securities. 5 months after that, Trump pardoned Binance's founder himself and then later told 60 Minutes, quote, "I don't know who he is." Of course, this isn't even the first time Trump has openly taken a bribe for a pardon. Crypto billionaire Justin Sun was facing an SEC fraud suit since 2023. He dumped $75 million into World Liberty, then a few weeks later, the SEC jointly moved to freeze his case, and the judge granted it. He then bought $18.6 billion of Trump coin, taking the top spot on the leaderboard and subsequently having dinner with the president at his golf club in Virginia. The SEC has dropped, paused, or softened more than 60% of the crypto cases it inherited, against a 4% rate for everything else. And by December 2025, it was no longer actively pursuing a single firm with known Trump ties. The stablecoin law that Trump signed bans members of Congress and their families from profiting off stablecoins. However, it does not apply to the president. Despite 35 House Democrats asking the DOJ to open a bribery investigation, the White House says he's following every conflict of interest law in the books, which is probably true because the main federal conflict of interest statute.
It looks like that account has been taken down since then. I found a link to it. It just won't work.
Has always exempted the president because no one was expecting him to sell his own currency. But on the bright side, crime is legal. At the end of his first term, Donald Trump is worth a little over $2 billion. Most of that came from his 40-plus year career in real estate development and discriminating against black people. Today, in 2026, Donald Trump is worth over $6.5 billion, nearly 3 times what he was worth just a few years ago. A massive portion of this wealth came from crypto. Abolishing ICE?
Yes.
Medicare for all?
Yes.
Banning members of Congress like Jared Moskowitz from trading stocks?
Absolutely.
Abolishing the Electoral College?
Yes.
Abolishing gerrymandering?
Yes, certainly.
Ending Citizens United?
Absolutely.
Ending the blockade on Cuba?
Yes.
Ending the war on Iran?
Absolutely. The illegal war on Iran.
Ending U.S. aid to Israel?
Absolutely. And that is a position that the majority of Americans and my constituents support.
Sanctioning Israel?
Yes.
And a free Palestine?
Absolutely.
Last but not least, condemning Hassan Piker?
Not happening. Not on this pod.
Low-lying grass. Haley Well.
I don't know who this guy is.
Gifted. White Sand. Dusty.
To be honest with you, I was just doing this while I'm scrolling.
Dan Gertler. What? We must be over here in Israel. Pretty lake. Nice boat. Oh, Israeli flag. Got to be down. End the war on Iran.
Yes.
GeoGuessr.
Missed evening. Security cameras. Oh, we're at a protest.
Apparently he does GeoGuessing.
Crowd control truck.
All right, guys. I'll try to find it later. I'll give you an example of what it fucking looked like. Go on. So basically, this guy shows somebody says he covers like the Trump corruption shit, and someone says, "Well, if you were an honest creator, now you got to do like Hunter Biden and Nancy Pelosi." So like when he goes to show the chart, there's like a chart here, right? And it's how much, and this is the Trump fam. This is Hunter. And this is Nancy Pelosi. When he goes to show the chart, like the Trump family is like up here, like fucking, I don't know, $8 billion, some shit like that, right? Like that. And then like the Hunter Biden $5 million for whatever he got through Burisma and all that shit is like this. Like literally you can't even see it. And then Nancy Pelosi, she's been in fucking politics out of her whole 40 years. Hers looks like this. Like it's fucking, we are not on the same scale. We're nowhere close to the corruption they've just pulled off in a fucking year. Much less, you know, the rest of their lives, the deals they're locking in, the money they're going to take away from this. Like it's fucking insane. I hate to just make up stats. I will find the video to correct it. I'm sorry I had to draw it in, but I will find it. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the show, if you want to keep it going, you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer. I would greatly appreciate it. That's how I pay the bills here. Keep doing the stream. I am rolling the show back to start earlier. We got started before 11 tonight, but not much before. I'm trying to get closer to 10 tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Please support the show. Like, share, subscribe, or go to buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer, Dono Clip, any of the websites. They're all listed at this link. You can donate any of those ways. I would greatly appreciate it so I could pay some bills around here. Rent's coming due in a few days at the office. Thank you guys. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for listening to me bitch for a while, and I'll see you on the next one. Talk to you later. I am Will Bird, and this is Cold Brew Confessional. Yeah.
But I can tell you this.
Appreciate it.
About if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell.
Yeah, appreciate the new people. Welcome.
And tell them the rest.
Join us on the next show or sometime this week. I go live about every night. I need to start between 9 and 10, but I've gotten this habit of not starting until after 11 because I got shit going on. But I got to fix that. It's starting way too late, and it hurts my numbers. People are already in bed or forget about it or don't get notifications or whatever. So we need to eventually get to where we're going to be starting between 9 and 10 again. It'll take a couple weeks to get used to it.
Wait in a sixth sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
Black cock can have a secret. Or I really love black cock. And no.
Damn. Madison Marquette.
I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped him to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16.
Oh yeah, some people said I need to fix the Discord link. I think some people said the Discord link wasn't working. I think this one works though, right?
What?
The one on the dono page.
What are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop.
Oh, I don't fucking have it on there. It doesn't look like. Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Oh, I need to add that.
Oh my God. Damn it. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit.
What you doing, Big Grammy?
You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. We say it isn't.
Thank you, legend.
Up on the road.
Good night, guys.
Down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders. They ringing his bell.
Thanks, legend.